he's albino, and he's my brother in Christ, and my hair is very similar.
All right, so we are back up on this side. Back up on this side. All right,
And people
so
say,
let's just address some of the comments here. Okay, when you got some headphones, you can come back up. No problem, it's all good. The point was valid, but not the way he wanted it to be right. So I can make what he said right. I can add to what he was saying. Women being more sexually selective due to their biological nature, that's what informs their sexual selectivity. But the reason why it's important is because that's the first thing. The second thing is they have more risk, biological risk, if things go wrong as far as sexual commitment or relations. These are biological baked in things. Men, on the other hand, experience something that women almost always cannot experience, which is paternity uncertainty. Women know where the baby comes from out of their body. Men don't know that the kid is his outside of DNA testing, which is like less than 60 years old.
Well, wait. No, if a woman has relations with two different men within a very brief time period, there's no way there's no real way for her to know whose it is.
She doesn't know whose it is, which is proving my point on one side, and here's how you're proving my point again. She knows the baby, she knows the baby is hers. She doesn't have to worry about uncertainty about the kid being hers.
Okay. So she knows for a fact it's hers, but like because she had relations with more than one man, we don't know who
the father.
Yeah, so because we don't know who the father is, this is how all of history has been up until DNA testing. The only way you could know.
I have something to say about that.
Yeah, I'll just land real quick. The only way you can know is if the woman has never had sex, or if the woman is only having sex with you.
I disagree with that. Before DNA testing, there was blood typing, and a child of a man and a woman can only be the blood type of the child can only be of the mother or the father. There isn't a third possibility.
Okay, and when was this invented?
That was historic before DNA testing. That's how they determined paternity.
Okay.
When?
So sorry.
What's your evidence of this? That we were able to know that the kid was mine before DNA testing. Where is your evidence, and when did this start?
Oh, if you're asking me, it was just in my education.
Well, perhaps you want to give us some more evidence of it, just to concrete it. London, thanks for the follow. I mean, well, it's your okay. All right, I had to look up your information.
You can look it up online.
Blood testing.
That is a product of a man and a woman. It can't have a third blood type. It has to be the product of the mother or the father. And so
basically, like, if there's a genetic thing that goes on with it, where it's like if dad is A and mom is B, the child can either be A, B, or AB, but they can't be O. If they're O, then I don't even know.
All right, so then what if the person that the two people she's sleeping with has the same body, the blood type?
Yeah. What about that?
Yeah, so it's not like a surefire.
Yeah, so it's not surefire. Yeah. Therefore, the uncertainty. And at this point, blood types were only discovered in 1900. So.
Yeah, good job.
I'm just looking it up, and the reason why I bring this up is because these are modern conventions, modern inventions.
Good job.
The entire history of our species didn't have this thing you're talking about.
I'm speaking of before the DNA testing.
Okay, well, thank you for adding that, because I think that is a good thing to clean up. So about 1900.
So
the reason why I'm bringing this up, Gunter, is because we're talking about biological behaviors. It's biological for me to have an instinct towards myself, others, or people that I associate with, my family, and particularly my immediate family.
But
these are biological informed behaviors.
Well, at some point, we have to override biological instinct, right?
Why would we do that?
Why? Well, because sometimes biological instinct tells us to kill something or somebody, and unalive. I don't know.
That's fair.
You know, like
But
you're
who
not
am I
supposed to
hurting in
do
that?
that.
Who am
You're
I hurting
supposed
in
to.
that way? Who is being harmed by me saying I don't want to date someone?
I'm not. Well, I think you're
Yeah,
harming
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
I
who's
think
being
Because
harmed?
you're trying to associate me saying I don't want to date someone with uh instinct, a restriction on instinct similar to that
Well,
around ending the life. How
as
are you
long as
making that
I,
how are you
Yeah, yeah.
drawing
I
that
was only
there?
sure. I was only making the point that just because you have a natural instinct to do something doesn't mean you should necessarily follow that instinct. The instinct's there. Even if I cede the point to you that the instinct is there, there
So
might be a reason to override it. Can you accept that?
There might be a reason to override it. Yes, there may be.
Sure.
so
But a
Dalton, brother.
feminist just saying, well, you should because we're all equal. It's not sufficient. It's just
Yeah,
a
that's not
Okay.
just an assertion.
But I haven't said that yet. I haven't said that.
Fair.
Okay. So, but you can accept that there might be a reason to override that instinct, right?
I accept.
Maybe. Sure. Okay. So let's talk about it then. So like, I think that at the end of the day, it sounds like what the problem you have is that if a woman has been, let's say, promiscuous, she's been with like 4 or 5 people, right, before
Uh-huh.
you, and
Yes.
let's say that you're like dating this person, and then you find that out. So what are you thinking
Can
now?
I
That
make a
that
point?
person is more likely to be unfaithful?
Can I make a point? though,
Yeah,
Gunter?
more likely to be unfaithful than a person who wasn't doing that. Yes.
Yeah, more likely to be unfaithful. And also the whole thing here is for a man to get like a 200 body count, that's a hard thing to do. You know, you've got to become a very powerful, high value man that's has status, that works out, that's good looking.
Yeah,
You know,
but Dylan,
hold
perhaps he
on,
was
hold on.
Oh, he accepted my
Dylan,
request. Oh, man.
perhaps he was asking a question because he was going somewhere.
No,
Gunter.
it's fine. So, right. So you think that they're more likely to be unfaithful? Why is that? Like, what if they describe these relationships to you and they were never unfaithful before? Like, they always broke up before they moved
Those
on
those
to
are
the
two
next person.
questions. Could you repeat the first?
Yeah. So what would
I don't-
indicate to you that this person has a propensity to be unfaithful to you?
Because generally women are more sexually selective than men, and women who are acting non-selective, I would find this
Yeah, yeah.
peculiar, and I would find it to
Yeah.
be reason that they are acting outside of their general
Yeah,
behavior.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with
And
the
that general behavior would lead towards someone who's practicing perhaps impulsivity, perhaps less value of commitment than I, perhaps less moral commitment than I. If I'm trying to gauge how religious she is, if she's been sleeping around, she would be less religious than the person who's a virgin or has less bodies.
Yeah. And for a woman that's beautiful, it's very easy to get a 200 body count. So, you know, usually things that are hard earned are valued more, right? And things that are easy to do, that's not valued as much.
Yeah, so even if she's never been unfaithful in any of these relationships, you think that she would be unfaithful with you?
No, I'm just inferring that based on inductive reasoning. We do this all the time. We recognize patterns and we assess probabilities. It's completely consistent with logic. How we
We
would
block this guy, Mark Wiggerberg. He's a piece of shit.
The pattern that I'm detecting here, though, if she's been with 5 people before you, never cheated on a single one, the pattern I'm detecting is that she doesn't cheat.
Okay, so when it
Block
comes
this
to
guy.
hold on a second. For everybody who wants me to get, if I'll get out what's Xingping. You guys want me to get Xingping out of here? Chat. What do you guys think?
Yeah, get Ping out of here. He's a piece of shit. Nobody insults my brother like that.
Jenna, you want me to get him out of here, Jenna?
Yeah, get him out of here.
All right, one more in the affirmative outside of me and Dylan. I'll get him out.
He called you Dave Zuckernig, and he said Mark Wiggerberg.
He goes, how's that an insult? Oh, so now he's being feminine and being passive aggressive. Interesting. Yeah, you're not getting out of here. We'll let the audience speak for that. All right. So you asked a question about how. Could you repeat the question, Gunter?
Yeah, no problem. My question was, would not the fact that she's been with 5 people before you, and we're assuming that she's never cheated, wouldn't that indicate that the pattern is that she doesn't cheat and is less likely to cheat on you?
Yeah, but that would That's true, but I'm not saying that a woman who's doing that will cheat. It just stands to reason that she's more likely to, because if she's less if she's more impulsive by the fact that she's had more bodies, or if she values sex less than I would, then it would stand to reason that she's going to do things like have less impulse around these type of things. So that means it stands to reason that she's going to do that thing if it came to it more likely than someone who didn't have any sexual interactions. Because if we look at one woman who would be the contrast, which is a woman who didn't have any bodies, let's just say one had 5 and one had 1. Well, that means the one who has 1 body is less impulsive than the one who has 5. And if she's not impulsive, let's just say they did it in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. She had 5 boyfriend and girlfriend relationships. I can still draw inferences around negative relationship traits, like she's failed 5 relationships. She wasn't impulsive, but she failed 5 relationships, and she slept with 5 men in the process. So I'm explaining to you negative traits we can associate with her. It doesn't just have to be cheating, based on the amount of men she slept with, because it's about how you act. It's not about what you say, right? It's your actions speak louder than words, right?
Sure. No, if she's had 5 failed relationships, I would also want to know from her mouth like how those went wrong. You know, because like there's failure there. I'm
Yeah.
just speaking to the fact that that doesn't necessarily indicate disloyalty. It can indicate a variety of other negative things, sure.
All right. Well,
But
if you,
like disloyalty just doesn't seem to be one of them necessarily.
it doesn't necessarily have to be disloyalty, but it could be how she views intimacy, how she views her ability, how she views whether her exchanging sexual relations with more men than not is a good or bad thing, and is that in alignment with me? It can say many things, but it doesn't need to absolutely prove it. It just needs to lean towards that such that I would infer it. But that's how we all operate as far as how we behave with others. You look at a restaurant and you see it has a C rating for health, you're going to be less likely to want to go there because of what it indicates. That doesn't mean that doesn't prove that you're going to get flies in your food, but you're less likely to if you go to a restaurant that has an A. We're just inferring these things, and this is completely logical.
But if she has an understanding of the relationship to be monogamous, right, and closed, such that there's no outside dating or sexual activities allowed, if she understands that and she hasn't cheated in the past, one of the things that you don't have to worry about is her having relations with people besides you. Probably, right? Like, obviously, anybody can cheat at any point.
Yeah.
But I just like she has a good track record in that specific department. Is my point.
You're correct. A woman who has had many monogamous relationships where she has not stepped outside the confines of that for cheating or perhaps one night stands, she has a track record of having a higher ability to. That does indicate a level of self-control and discipline around that context. But the good thing is when it comes to body count and how men perceive it, they don't just perceive it around infidelity and disloyalty. There's also levels of disgust, reputation destruction, comparison. There's many ways that we would process it such that it has a negative and disqualifying effect. It doesn't just have to be around disloyalty or cheating.
So, what would be the biological reasoning for that? Because my understanding is that, like, the biological reasoning for why we look down upon promiscuous women is because, and I'm accepting this for the sake of the argument, is because, like, they're more likely to get pregnant by other men than you, or
Paternity uncertainty.
Right, exactly. Fine, I accept that for the purposes of this argument. But if they're loyal, right, you don't have to worry about like who they might be pregnant by because you know that you're the only one that they're with.
Yeah, well, we can go ahead. So in that regard,
like biologically speaking, I just don't understand what, like, why else you would be worried about somebody else having like all those past relationships.
She's less selective.
Amen.
She's less selective. You can have decent outcomes, or you can scathe. Like, but perhaps you never got pregnant. Perhaps you never got beat upside the head. Perhaps you never been in an abusive relationship. That still,
Maybe
but
she
just because you've escaped some of the failings of sexual interactions with men, that doesn't mean you're still not a good partner. Especially if you're less selective. Selectivity, a woman's selectivity is, what I would argue, it has a functional benefit. Seems to be the natural benefit. Doesn't mean it's necessarily right, but women who are acting outside of this, they would be peculiar. By definition, they would be peculiar. Less selectivity is it's. Go ahead.
I was just saying, you see it as a red flag when you
Well,
say peculiar.
think about it. If no one had to teach you as a woman, that if your boyfriend runs out, you're gonna be a baby mama. You're gonna have less resources. You're gonna have to fight for resources. Hell, you're gonna have to work more just to support not only you but yourself. There's not much social construction that shows you this. This is a biological baked-in thing to women. She just has to look at one relationship or how things work with her body to know this. The reason why that's important is because someone who treats that flippantly, I would argue, is someone who's not wise. Someone who's going against their own biological. What her biology is teaching her to be more selective. It forces her to be. So if she's going to operate outside of that, I want to know why. Why is she doing that? Oftentimes it comes with she doesn't treat sex seriously. Oftentimes it comes with she's a feminist. Oftentimes it comes with she has problems in her past. There's many reasons why she would do that. Why would she go against her own enforced nature of herself? That's peculiar. I would want to investigate that. But a lot of those reasons don't justify her stepping outside of it.
Right. I'm so sorry. My wife actually just walked in, so I gotta log off here. But
No problem, Gunter. It's been a good debate. It's been spirited. I thank you for that.
yeah, of course. You have a good night.
All right, man. You too. Hey, this is good. Chop. What is this? Oh, Thai food. Nice. The woman has got me food. Thanks. Thank you.
Let's talk about Islam.
Let's keep it toward the prompt, KJ. How are you going to keep it towards the prompt?
It's a threat to the United States or the world, I would say. I would argue.
Can you tie it to the prompt? Can you tie it to anti-feminism and why we should be anti-feminist?
Most of the women in our American politics are all for not only the Islamic movement, but letting in even more Islamists.
And they tend to be feminists. So I'm hearing you. So make it work, KJ.
Did I make it? I didn't make it.
Oh, welcome up, madam. You're a woman, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you a feminist, ma'am?
Aquarius.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hey, look, you sound good. I have a look. We're at a holding point here, and I got a theory for you. Maybe you'll like it.
Oh, okay. KJ, will you allow? I know you're about to spit, but will you allow KJ for her to make her theory?
Yeah, send it, KJ.
Oh, Islam is antithetical to our American way of life.
Islam is what? Anti what?
Antithetical?
Maybe I'm not hearing it. Go ahead.
Antithetical.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the term? It basically means like if we have a way of life, something that's antithetical to that is like against or incompatible.
Okay. I all right, period.
Well, you probably don't disagree with that.
Well, I don't necessarily agree. I just don't know where. Okay,
Where's she going?
I've heard the statement, but I don't know what the support is.
KJ, you're gonna have to. I'm tying your hands behind your back, but it's because you need to stay towards the prompt. You need to link this to anti-feminism, KJ.
I don't know how better I can do that in the United States of America. We have AOC, um, Ilhan Omar, what's going on in Dearborn,
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, I don't know how better. What? Who doesn't know what I'm talking about? What isn't reality?
Maybe
What are we talking about here?
So basically, KJ, you're saying the feminists are letting in incompatible ideologies into America.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably why they shouldn't be voting. Probably why they shouldn't be
Hold
voting.
on. Hold on. Doesn't everybody see that?
W. James.
Well, no.
I know. Maybe I'm the one that doesn't. Maybe I need the explanation because I don't watch TV, so I'm not watching
Well,
the
that's
news.
the problem.
These damn
You're
feminists.
not informed. That's the problem.
Hey, she wants to know, so you're gonna have to educate her. She's being open.
Yeah,
I don't say that to attack her. I say that to inform
I'm
her.
not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I just don't know. I'm not taking a stance. Is all I'm saying. What I am asking is, you said that Islam and the Nation of Islam, it does not support what we do here in the United States, and so I don't disagree and I don't agree with you.
Well, Jocelyn, hold on.
It's
Jocelyn, hold on.
antithetical.
Jocelyn, the Nation of Islam, like Farrakhan, different than Islam. What we talking about? Two different things.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't even know where we're rooted at. I didn't bring it into the
Well,
discussion.
well, Jocelyn, what was your theory? You had a theory. What was that theory?
It was totally not on Islam.
Well, tell
at
me
all.
about it. Let's hear about it.
So here, look, it's going to be a little bit of a right turn. Let's hear it out. Ready? So I have a theory.
Well, hold on, Jocelyn. You need to make this. Is this going to be about the prompt?
Semi, yeah. You're going to like it.
All right, all right.
So here, I was raised a little bit different. I'm about 42-year-old woman. Retired Army. I did all 20 of my service years.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm just laying the groundwork of who I am before we continue, and that's kind of where my roots are, and we're just gonna let it be at that. But here's a theory I was raised on. I'm not necessarily Christian. My granddaddy was Baptist. We still own the church. I know where my grave is. My grandparents are there, and my daddy's there. My parents are there. We're all going to go in the same spot. Okay. So let me lay that ground. With that being said, I was raised on a theory of when you make a bed, you lay in it. And what that meant to me as a child was, as a young woman, when you laid on your back and made a baby, you had better been prepared to provide for that baby. I, through all of my childhood, understood that concept. I never understood the patriarchal concept of child support and family court. I think you may have seen in my comments, the patriarchy is a thing, and I think it's very dangerous, not to the woman, but to the man in particular, because the patriarchy is causing the woman to bear that child, the non-selective woman to bear that child to a man that maybe not deserving of, and then later breaks into the patriarchal system of family court, where again, let me bring my roots back to my childhood and say, I was taught if you lay on your back, you make a baby, you better be ready to deal with it. And now I'm going to relate it, if you will, to a common feature, not so touchy, if you will, to buying a car, if you will. Here we go. If you and I don't know you, you don't know me, my credit's bad. You're going to co-sign this car, just like we co-signed the sex we had the other day. Yeah? You co-sign the car. If I can't make the payment for whatever reason, is there an expectation that only half of the payment is going to be made by the co-signer, or is the lien going to be expecting the entire payment?
The lien. If you co-sign, you don't pay, and the person you co-sign for ain't pay it, credit's on you. Whoever co-signed, your credit's gonna now suffer.
You damn Skippy. And so that's exactly what I'm telling you. And so that's where I say that the patriarchy is kind of a suffraging to the man, not the woman. And when I say that is because that non-selective woman, we can lay down and make a baby with anybody we want to. And then we're just going to it's crazy because we can take that man through the man's created system to create an additional taxpayer just on the base of the idea that apparently we did not have consensual sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Now, what I will say though
You understand where
is,
I'm trying to relate that? What I'm trying to mirror it
uh
to
huh,
is if
uh huh.
we co-sign the baby, then we co-sign the car. So why is it possible that the woman can carry the baby to full term, whatever, which she should, but not my business. And then we take these people, the men, to court and run their pockets, but we could not do the same thing had we leased a car. You see what I'm saying?
I don't get the. I'm not sure how you're drawing the analogy from cosigner to if the person cosigned for doesn't pay to the child. I'm not sure how you draw that analogy.
Well, I'm bringing in the family court system, is what I'm doing. So what I'm saying is, you and I, as a man and woman, you and I both agree that if we lay down and bear a child, that child needs to be raised. We agreed to that before we even did what we did. I thought, that's how I was raised to understand. And so, in the case that it doesn't work out for whatever reason, why would I leave that relationship thinking that I'm going to have a court system to support me?
Well, because we have institutions that do that. They're just emergent institutions that do that.
That's the patriarchy. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if the sex was consensual, the same way the car purchasing was consensual, then why is it possible that there's a system outside of our consensual agreement that has to bear the burden of the child? I'm just
Oh,
saying the patriarchy.
well, the reason why I think is because I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look into that. Where did it come from? Because I know welfare before women could vote, they actually got laws passed for that before they could even vote regarding the precursors to the welfare system we have now. But I'm not sure where the child support comes from, and if it is from the patriarchal system, I can acknowledge that as a failing. I'll acknowledge that as a failing because in reality, there shouldn't be no safety net that the government does.
100% agree. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, that would be a failing.
Well, it was created to benefit rich men. The man who gets screwed is the man who's in the process of trying to build himself up, right?
Are you rich?
No, I'm just saying I'm not throwing out my financial situation out there. I'm not saying whether I'm rich or anything. I'm just saying that the system was designed by rich men to benefit rich men and to screw over the rest of us because if that happens to a rich man, right, it's not really a big deal, right?
Well,
It's like
here's how I can say it would probably be a good thing in a certain way, Jocelyn. But before I mention that, let me just Pegomastics.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Golden Goth, thanks for sharing the live. Salty crack. Can I even say that word? Salty cracker. Thanks for sharing the live. Can we get the likes up, guys? Perhaps we will attract more feminists. Are you a feminist? Mastic. I don't know how to say your name.
I love
It's
being
Pegomastics. It's
feminist.
just it's a really weird looking dinosaur, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
Pegomastics. But yeah, I feel like I don't know. Even
I
I feel
love
like
dealing with these feminists.
I feel like a lot of anti-feminist stuff. To me personally, I really couldn't care less. I feel like dating has never been easier for me, but it feels like it's easier for me to go out and date women because people aren't doing the things that they need to.
Yeah, it benefits the most promiscuous man.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not even from that. It's just like a
Yeah, here's how it
it's
does. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
But
yeah,
Pegomastec.
Jocelyn
right.
is
Pego.
But I
Jocelyn.
go
I didn't
out.
want to cut you out,
I've always
Pegomastics. Go
loved.
ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But I go out. I go out to meet my women, and I'm hearing people that they're saying things like the male loneliness epidemic, and it feels like they're upset because they'll romanticize this one woman, and it has to be their dream girl, and they'll chase her for months, and eventually they wear her down to the point where she caves, and they're in a relationship, but there was never really a mutual back and forth of attraction, right? It was just like well, this guy's gonna be the best I get for a little bit, so let me ride this out for as long as I can.
Wait, Pego.
Yeah.
What
So
state are you in?
Pego,
I live in Georgia. I'm actually on a trip right now, but I live in
Okay.
Georgia. Like, so.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, the reason why I understand that you benefit a lot from what's going on, but you're only contributing to the problem. People who tend to be non-monogamous or who have like a de facto polyamorous or polycule type thing going on, or polygamous thing going on, they're only just pissing in the dating pool at this point. They're just taking advantage of a bad situation. The bad situation is relationships are such that men are no longer the ones who can kind of steward into the relationships. The father used to be. Thus, there's a deregulation of the sex market. The men used to regulate it, the fathers, the community, the family, the church, but now it's deregulated. So are there going to be potentially bad actors? I would argue you're a bad actor. But
You could argue the Muslims back there at this point.
the thing is, it's like what's the consequence? The consequence is there's going to be men who are very charismatic or who are attractive to women who just get to use them up. So then they therefore return to their husbands in the future with baggage and comparison of the men that they dealt with to go into the next relationship to try and salvage a relationship with the man now settling, becoming either an alpha widow, someone who's used in a way, someone who's traumatized, has to recover. So it's like, okay. I mean, yeah, I agree to you, Pego Mastix. You're benefiting a lot, but it's due to feminism. Feminism has taken the guardrails off of morality, and they decoupled it from
Yes.
sexual relationships.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
good
think
point.
feminism. I don't think feminism directly affects things like that. To me, I feel like feminism is like the simple,
Wait,
basic.
hold on, sir. Hold on.
Dylan, let him finish his point.
To me, I feel like the things I see people try to take away are like, are like women's suffrage, were like voting and things, and I see a lot of people argue about that.
Yeah,
I'm not
women
saying
should.
that,
Dylan, last warning, Dylan.
I'm not saying that like, everybody here is like that, but I feel like these things are simply to cope. I feel like I feel like we've just been in a time where it's been easier to be a low quality man, right? And I feel like I don't think that I would compare to like people who lived in like the 50s where a man was like a provider, and I feel like I'd be doing the bare minimum for things like that, but because nobody's doing it, it feels like there's not enough opportunities for men to grow up as fast, right? I feel like I allowed myself to be thrown to the wolves despite living a comfortable life. I'm a military veteran. I've traveled. I make my own money. I've done all that, and I'm in my early 20s. So compared to my peers, I'm light years ahead. And so I don't have to stress.
Light years
I don't have to
ahead
worry
in
about
what
things like
way?
that.
Light years ahead in what way?
I just feel like maybe financially and socially.
Okay,
I feel like
finances
I
and
have.
finances. You got more money, or you're more dependent. And socially, what do you mean?
I feel like I've had more experience. I've had more, out there experiences than most of my peers have. So I have more knowledge about the world, and I have more people. I have more to talk about and bring to the table.
Okay, but
And so I feel
but
like
you
that's
could
what
have
makes
done
me.
that. You could have done that without having to participate in
Absolutely.
hookup culture, right?
Well, I, absolutely. And I know friends who, I have a buddy of mine. He's my age. He's been married for 6 years. Well, no, maybe not 6 years, maybe 5.
For a while.
He got married at 18 or 19. Yeah, he got married at 19. And his life is thriving, but he found a good woman, and he locked her down. And so to me,
What's
it feels
keeping you
like
from
both
doing
of
that,
these.
Pego Mastic?
I simply haven't found a woman I truly,
Yeah, you've become
I see
indifferent
myself
at this
marrying.
point, and you're what's
Not
going on
even.
is you're a product
I'm
of your
still
own
looking.
behavior. The more women
I'm
you
still
sleep with,
looking.
the more choosier you get, the pickier you become, and less trustworthy. Also, perhaps the more jaded, and the more you have a perspective of women based on how you're dealing with them. But the reason why I bring this up is because the first thing you talked about was, I don't see how feminism is involved, which you're incorrect. The principle, a prominent principle of feminism, particularly of the second and third wave, was sexual liberation. Sexual liberation movement or sexual revolution was a social movement spanning the late 1950s to the early 1970s. It challenged the traditional Western codes of behavior by decoupling sex from reproduction and marriage, championing contraception, access to premarital sex, individual sexual expression, Well, if I want to express myself by being a playboy, or if I want to express myself by being a sleut or a lady of the night, there should be less shame on me. There should be less laws on me. There should be less taboo on me. Well, this is deregulation, is it not?
That's true.
Okay, so the people who can, oh, thanks, honey. There's the people who can benefit the most from this are the ones who want to express themselves sexually the most. But what is the consequence of that? Well, the people who are engaging in this way are going to be having more and more recurring sterile relationships, such that they don't benefit or they don't grow to anything, or perhaps a baby mama or some child born out of wedlock. These non-committal engagements are only going to lead to really the breakdown of the West, because if the birth rate falls, the society does.
Ah.
Wait, why is that funny? Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing.
I mentioned that before.
I feel like I feel like the only reason that things broke down this way are because there's a lack of sense of community, you know? And it feels like people who can find a community, you know, and the fragments of what's left of America. Because when people had hobbies that they were able to go out and drive to, and I don't want to say that, you know, I like video games. I don't want to be like a. Obviously, this is gonna be a hypocritical because I love video games. I just spent 9 hours yesterday in a gaming cafe playing video games with some friends of mine from back home. But I feel like it's definitely one of those things that contribute to it a lot. Where younger men, you know, they spend a lot of their time at home. They're not really working towards anything, and so it allows people, you know, to go out. I mean, leaving your house is probably the first step where you win, you know? And I don't see as many people doing that, you know? There's more homebodies than ever. And so that becomes with the rise of dating apps. And I feel like dating apps lead towards this feeling of, you know, not being chosen, right?
Yeah. But what's your point? A lot of men are feeling a bit rejected if they go on
I
dating
feel
apps.
like
So what is your point?
they're feeling rejected, and then they go on social media. And of course, there's always going to be promiscuous people. Even back before, you know, uh like you say, things like
Yeah, but how
feminism, like
how
something like that
much
really feminist.
though? How much promiscuous people? Before there was regulation. Now it's deregulated. So it's going
But
to
I still don't
increase.
feel like there's as many. I feel like there's still things that need to happen in order for you to make a woman feel secure enough to sleep with you.
Yeah, but Pegomastics,
It's
you're
the
correct.
subtleties.
You're correct. When it comes to who's able to who's really able to Pregomastics, you and I both know who's the ones more able to engage in the sexual hookup culture more. It's the ones who have more power, right? The ones who have more power
Yes.
as far as the upfront, what they're charging, is women.
Yeah.
Okay, the ones who are more able to to participate in the promiscuous culture created by sexual liberation is women. You would be an outlier. I think you got a good thing going. It's an easy thing to mark. It's easy to market. Like, I get to be with whoever I want. I don't have to have any commitments. I can touch and go. Okay, but right now you haven't proven that feminism hasn't caused that. Feminism has literally caused that, because if men in the past were like, you need to marry her before you make a woman out of her, and feminism said no, we shouldn't do that, it becomes such that all I have to do is make her laugh and take her on a couple of dates, and I've gotten what somebody was willing to hold me at gunpoint for marriage.
Mm,
Mm.
Exactly.
amen.
So that is literally the cost of feminism. You're correct. Men, there are a certain type of man, such that women are going to be hypergamous to. They're going to want this type of man, right? They're going to allow this de facto polygamous relationship. You know, he can share these women. That a certain man can benefit from it. But in reality, it's women just being more sexually unselective and promiscuous. That's demoralizing men. You're just contributing to it. I'm not trying to say you're a bad person. I'm just trying to say you're just a product of like feminism at this point.
Yeah, you can't
But
swipe.
I,
You can't just swipe right and get clapped. You got to put in the effort, dude.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. Actually, the more indifferent a man is and the more mysterious, women see that shit as mysterious. But
Right, but swiping right isn't.
No, we don't.
okay, so here's the
you
thing.
would
Here's the
say
thing. There a lot of women, they a lot of women respond to players. A lot of women respond to the bad boy or men who have dark triads or a little bit Machiavellian in how they behave with others.
No, no.
Yeah,
They
well,
do.
luckily,
mean,
well,
they
if you've dated women, if you had a dick and balls, I could believe what you're saying. But I'm telling you,
Right.
you don't know what women.
Right.
You have to understand how women respond versus to what they say they want. This doesn't mean that you personally are like that.
Are you looking down into that pool and jealous of that pool of people though that are being promiscuous? Because you're gonna have the male perspective, you're gonna have the male and the female that are gonna have that pool of promiscuous. Are you looking down into that pool? Are you jealous of them?
No, I mean, I used to be that. I've saw the fruits of my labor. I've ate of the fruit of my own way. It's not good.
Yeah. Could I also, I wanted to continue on a point. I just feel like now I feel like this should I feel like this should be something that motivates men to be better, you know? Rather than imposing more restrictions on women. I feel like
This. What do you, when you say
it's not
this? What do you
hard.
mean this? Be specific
I
here.
feel like seeing, I guess you're right. No, I'm being very vague in my point. But I feel like if you're going out and you're seeing that there's a specific group of people who are or having, you know, success in the sexual marketplace and they seem like they're getting everything they want, why not do that? I feel like I was fortunate enough to have male role models who sort of, you know, both male and female role models who told me like, hey, you know, this is how you're supposed to treat a woman. You know, this is, you know, these are the things you have to look out for.
That's where the
And I
selection
feel
comes
like exactly. And I feel like I was already
Be more
pretty
like
selective.
what? Be more like what?
I guess if you
So sleep
if you're seeing,
around?
you know, no. But hypergamy is pretty much just natural selection.
Yeah,
That's the way I see it.
hypergamy is good.
Hypergamy is a good thing, you know, because I feel like there's more low quality men who have, you know, who get to share their viewpoints, right? And this, you know, makes other low quality men come and relate, and it makes it seem like a bigger issue than there is.
Do you think
We don't.
hopeflation? Do you think hopeflation is a good thing?
I feel like it happens regardless, you know.
It doesn't
Think
though.
about it.
It
We're
doesn't.
but there have been people who've been married multiple times, you know, back in,
Yeah, that's
I
feminism.
guess what
That's
would be
called
the
that's
golden
called
age
that's
of
called
dating.
no fault divorce, right?
Right.
Women can divorce men if they read a book about Fabio and they fantasize about him. They can break up their marriage based
Yeah,
on that.
Host is the most intellectual alongside Jocelyn.
So I'm pointing that out, Pego Max, because you're saying it would have been that way.
Mhm.
I agree with hypertrophy.
Me
LOL.
too.
I didn't mean hypertrophy. Hypergamy.
I don't think
I
it's
don't
a
agree with
problem. I think it's
hypergamy. That's what's going on right now. This hoflation is caused by hypergamy because women in the West have taken feminism as their moral prescription for reality as well as their political and cultural, and they've married it to their
Yeah, it's terrible.
hypergamous nature. They've become super hypergamous. How? Well, the feminists will say, well, I have been sexually liberated and I'm sleeping with a lot of men. Clearly I have a lot of options. No, you don't. You just have men who want you for your body. You don't have men who want to marry with you don't have men who want to marry you.
That part.
But this will make the woman delusional in her head and say, wait a minute, I slept with Drake. I slept with a cool guy who was a dance club instructor or some man in a hierarchy in his community. I've slept with that man, so therefore that means I'm worthy of that type of man. No, you're not. This is confused. But how does this confuse women? How does this confuse women? Feminism has taught the woman, because we're all equal, the people that I sleep with, I would actually consider for a relationship. But that's not how men think.
That's not how men think.
But she's assuming we're all equal.
Yeah, she's a dumb bitch.
So then what's going on is she's saying in her head, I'm just as valuable as the men who want to sleep with me, because those are the type of men I'm contracting. Those are the type of men I'm attracting. This is causing hyper. Hold on, Dylan. Dylan, you're my hype man, but hold on a second. What's going on is she's saying, even though I'm a 6, because I slept with an 8, that makes me something like an 8. No, it does not.
Right,
This is called hyperinflation. This is called hoflation, based on the feminist ideology mixed with her dating strategy. Is that not what's Pegomastics? Is that not what's going on?
I feel like
because
that's
because a 10 man will smash. Let's face it.
Anything at this point.
Yeah, anything at this point. And the
Yeah.
whole point, hold on. The whole point behind it is like a 10-man, exactly what hosted will smash anything at this point. But even if she's, let's say, like a 6, right? I mean, he's still gonna hit it. He's still gonna hit it. You know what I'm saying? Like
You're saying that you're willing to reach down into the mud.
Yeah, women are not though. Women are not. Women are not. As a matter of fact, women are taught to put their nose even further up at men if they're feminists.
We date down, you date up.
Feminism is teaching women to look even lower, to look even less of men right now.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you, Pegamax? Do you disagree with anything I've just said?
That does make no. That makes sense. I feel like I would like to just say that from my experience that typically men who punch down like that, they're not doing it for they're not doing it with the best intentions at heart. However, they're still doing it, and so it does contribute to a problem.
What do you mean? What do you mean? If you understand that, do you believe it's natural for women to be hypergamous?
Yes.
I do as well.
No.
So doesn't it stand to reason? Doesn't it stand to reason that there is a supplementary behavior that follows it that the men are going to do? They're going to have a converse version of hypergamy. They're going to be more willing to date down, are they not? Let's get an answer to that question real quick. If women are hypergamous, doesn't it stand to reason that the men are going to be generally more graceful to date down?
Yes.
Is it natural or not? Is a man's natural propensity to be more graceful and date women with less resources and who are have less status? Yay or nay?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
We don't care about their
Jocelyn.
I know. I'm
This, ma'am. Here's what I meant in the context. I think my OBS is wigging out. Hopefully, can you guys still see me? I'm waving my. Can you guys still see me? Okay.
Men have high testosterone.
In the context of men are going to smash, the baseline reality is men are less sexually selective. Do you agree with that, Jocelyn?
Absolutely.
And we would say that would be kind of like how we can observe men to biologically behave in comparison to women.
Yes, but are we all at the same time going to make that an excuse?
A man to give her a level of like security in the here and now and in the future. Maybe betting on a good racehorse. I think that's awesome if women want that. In the same way, I think that's awesome if a woman.
I think the man should do the same thing. Yes.
But the man's not going to do the same thing. Here's what we're going to do in the converse. We're going to say, I want a woman who's fertile. I want a woman who has less bodies. I want a woman who's compliant and who's submissive to me, follows my lead, and who's not going to ruin my legacy. Right? We want generally different things, so we select based on that, right?
And we choose differently. Men, we choose differently for who we're going to smash versus who we actually want to make a commitment to.
So when I say Jocelyn that men are going to smash everything, it's just in comparison to women. Women generally are not going to do that.
All right, so then we are approaching the discussion given the immediate compromise that a man is going to do what a man's going to do.
No. Because I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not prescribing any moral thing to it. I'm just saying that men are generally less selective than women, and women are more selective than men as far as sexual selection.
With knowing that, okay, now that we know that, I agree with you. And so now that we know that, are we just going to accept that as fact, and we're not going to address that at all? We're just going to say
we should address that. We should address that because just because men are more selective or less, just because men are less selective, what I've been arguing against Pegamask's position is that he shouldn't be sexually selected this way. What he's doing is actually decreasing the birth rate. Like he can still play video games, study abroad, but you'll ask you to come home and have a monogamous, faithful relationship with a wife, and you need to have kids here. If all these charismatic traits and all this understanding of social communication, why you're not doing the best job to your community, your home, your country, if you're just spreading your seed around? You need to come home and implant those skills, that epigenetic value to a son or daughter for the next generation. Because otherwise, you're just dicking around. You're just pissing in the dating pool at this point.
Yeah, not only that, but also it's not planting the seed in the. I mean, if you're not having a baby, it's not really planting the seed. You know, I mean, it's either a condom or she's getting an AB.
Yeah, I'm just saying, hey, I mean, that's cool. You want to study abroad, you want to live your life for a second, but your ass need to come home and have some kids. If you're such a man that can attract women, this is a quality. It's a quality. But if you can attract a woman, you're more likely to be able to keep a woman. If you can keep a woman, you're more likely to have a woman submit to you. If that's the case, you're more likely to have your son or daughter see a proper man and female dynamic.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to add that, a lot of people, or at least from what I've seen, I'm not sure you stand on this point, but I see a lot of people say that, women don't submit anymore. And I wanted to also say that that's false. I don't get me wrong. Yeah. I've been promiscuous before, but when I've had relationships, I've had women submit to me, and it was not because, I thumped the Bible and said, oh, you have to, according to Ephesians, but more because, the higher quality man you are, the more women will want to submit to you. And I feel like it's much better to have earned it rather than to have it had it been mandated,
But when you
especially in
say
a
earn
world
it,
where that's not.
when you say earn it, you have to understand the context that we're living in. Women don't deserve. Women do not deserve, on average, the man they're trying to get.
Yes.
So, if you can say that, if women don't deserve, on average, the man they're trying to get, then saying that men need to kind of step to the occasion, I'm not so sure, because here's what I'll agree on you. I'll agree with you on this. Men need to be leaders. Men need to be of moral character. Men need to have some level of financial sufficiency or
Absolutely.
movement towards that. But outside of that, they don't need to have any damn back tits. They shouldn't be fat boys.
That's right.
Exactly.
So other than that, like, brush your teeth,
If Yeah,
be a good
100%
person,
right.
have the ability to at least sustain you and a potential other baby and a woman. That's really it. But you can do that. I'm saying that the bar for that is a lot lower than what the woman is
Yeah,
expecting right
and I
now.
feel
I
like
want
you
a
should.
man. I want a man to be if I'm being a social worker and I work and I make 80K in my governmentally
We also have to
inflated
take into
situation, like a man to,
That's a good point to make for her, though.
Host,
That's a very good point. Can I also add on to that?
hold on,
Uh,
hold on. Host, we also have to take into account the fact that this man said that he was in the military and traveled abroad. Like, feminism is not as strong in countries like China and, like, other parts around the world.
Yeah.
I just
no, but I do
wanted to.
majority of my dating in the States.
Merkel collected a lot of taxes throughout her time, and she sure as hell put those taxes right back into the streets, and they were really clean and very safe for the entire time that I was in Europe.
Martha
And I'd like
Sanger,
to say,
Martha who?
Merkel.
Oh, Merkel in Germany. Okay,
I'd like to say that
Pegomastix, yeah.
not a, mhm. I'd like to say that I gained these skills to better myself, I feel like people do the things with the intentions of, raising their sexual market value. And I feel like that's not the way to go. I want it to be better because that's who I am. And I was raised in a culture of greatness and I want it to, continue that. And so I find that it was easier for me to date because my peers are not doing the same, and that is definitely, a clear sign of hypergamy. But I feel like this is what I'm doing right now is the bare minimum for what a man should be. And I
Abroad,
feel like
studying abroad and being non-committal to women, or going abroad and being non-committal to women.
no, no, I mean, I just, I take care of myself. I work out, I'm active in my community. Right now, this is, I'm an outlier. I'm outside, but it's you see people they go to places like I'm in Thailand right now. I'm learning Muay Thai, but I've seen a lot of foreigners there. not even just like people from the U.S., but people from Australia, people from Britain. Sometimes they're out of shape.
Paying for box.
They're not. Yeah, they're paying for bucks, and it's just like this is not something I would have to do in the States. So it's odd to me to sort of see, like, I guess the discrepancies. Yeah, if your money is worth more here, that's clearly one of the things they want. But there's no shame in just going back home and working out. Some of these people have decent frames. Some of these people with a little discipline, I'm sure they could go far.
Yeah, but here's
I
the
feel
thing,
like
Pegomax. You said being a person, you said something that I agree with. Being a person to get something out of the sexual marketplace is not a good perspective. But it's
exactly.
interesting
But
that
I
you
feel like
mentioned
that's
that
what people
because you
fail.
also said, well, I'm this way for me. I don't need a religion to teach me this or a set of morals coming from that to teach me. But that would actually get you what you're saying you want and to be like.
Yeah.
If I'm a person of moral character, my ability to draw boundaries, my ability to be indifferent, my ability to rely on God and not the emotional state of a woman, this would actually naturally make me a leader because I'm doing what's
Exactly.
right and my head is towards the Bible, that book. It's not towards what a woman wants or what a woman is pouting about. So I would have gotten that, but then I would also have gotten, oh, I need to stay my ass in a monogamous relationship.
hmm
And the men would have been like you if they would have just followed the Bible, but they would have been married and they would have had a couple kids by now, right? So
Exactly.
the men that you're saying you want, it's in the confines of a religion, it's in the confines of a patriarchal system. It speaks against the feminist way a man should be.
I feel like these things are outdated for modern society. I feel like we
Outdated.
live in. I mean, yeah. I mean, you
I
can
mean,
kind of see
I
it.
don't
There's
think morale and the
Yeah.
righteousness of
Morality is
God
not outdated because
outdated.
right now,
Yeah.
if more men acted like you, there's going to be less kids to be born. There's less kids to be born. There's less doctors for the next generation, less mechanics, less garbage men, less military, less stable society, less ability to fund the damn old people that are on retirement. That you understand, our entire financial system here in the West is based on the economic value that we're borrowing against into the future.
It's based on the woman's womb.
It's based on the woman's womb in a lot of ways. If there is women are not having kids, there's not going to be no feminism. There ain't going to be no sleeping around. There might be Sharia law. There might be a caste system. There might be perhaps some genital mutilation because those are the societies that have
the
positive.
woman's womb
Those are
is
the
blessed.
societies that have the higher birth rates.
We love the woman's
I
womb.
said this before.
God bless the woman.
Yeah. So to KJ's point about how Islam is going to take strongholds in some place, you think Islam is going to let you be a permit? You think Islam is going to let you live out the Playboy lifestyle you're living out right now?
Hell no.
But if there's this much power in a woman's womb, then I mean, they have the power. I feel like
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
they have the
restricting
power,
them
and
and
it's called
putting in.
Sharia law.
Lies on the woman's womb.
It's called Sharia law. It's called a caliphate. It's called. There's no
They never have
feminism.
abortions. Abortions in the Islamic woman's culture is
Haram.
non-existent. They do not have abortions. Period.
And
So that
neither
means
should we.
you're going to be less likely to be able to practice being non-committal with women because there's going to be some daddy chasing your ass down.
So hold on, can I
Yeah.
just bring in a little
Not
anecdote?
wait, hold on.
Mhm.
Wait, hold on, James. Not just chasing his ass down. There's gonna be some daddy out to unalive your ass. They don't play.
Yeah. Shout out to them. But
Exactly.
I
And
don't.
so,
I think the West is far from Sharia law. I feel like
Islam is here to overtake us. Period.
we just promoted half of what Islam. We just promoted half of what Islam stands for, and then you just say, "Oh, Islam is out to overtake us," but half of this room just agreed with what Islam is going to do to the woman.
Mamdani has a foothold. Look at a lot of the
He sucks.
look
I
at a
love
lot
him.
of Texas, Michigan, Minnesota. There's a lot of enclaves in the West that are becoming Islam. Look at London, goddammit. London, everybody,
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of the
bad, yeah.
politicians there got head wraps. Men and the women.
Every Islamic country did not start out as an Islamic country. Iran started off as Zoroastrian
Yep.
country. Multiple other Islamic countries, current day, started off as Christian countries. They are here to overtake us. It's in their
Yeah.
mandate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
That's
about
what
it's
it
about
says they're
using the
allowed to do
womb.
in their
It's about
Christian-
using the womb as
Christian
somewhat of like as using the womb for like jihad.
Yeah.
No, we use the womb for
Amen.
taxes. We pay our taxes based off of the woman's womb right now.
Yeah, but right now we're having birth wars amongst other cultures that are outproducing us. So it stands to reason that, like, for example, if I have a culture that don't give a damn about no feminism, they might even view a certain woman with a certain lack of pigment as the devil.
That's right.
Okay, well they're gonna teach that to their kids. They ain't gonna be teaching no. You see how? Do you see how the Islam? Shout out to people who are Islam. Shout out to them. How you see how they treat the gender queer education system? No.
Yeah, they hate that.
Yeah, so you think
Yeah,
you're gonna be
W
able to
Islam,
change
yeah.
their kids? No.
Yeah.
Alright, so this
fuck
is the
man.
second time I've heard
W.
we are in favor of the Muslims.
Yeah, but you see, you
No, it's not that we're in favor of Jocelyn. We're just acknowledging that their culture is, if they become powerful, it's going to be a culture of less rights for women, less
Yeah,
rights for gays.
Yeah.
It's going to be,
Absolutely.
but-
it sounds
but-
like exactly what we're talking about here.
but we're not saying it's a good thing. We're just acknowledging that the culture that's being left in is by feminists. The feminists who have an empathy that is self-destructive. They're letting in their own demise at this point, their own undoing.
Yeah. No, very good point.
That we agreed with
This
what
man
happened
is an
before.
intellectual giant. Yeah, great point, James.
Appreciate
I
it,
get him to
appreciate it.
laugh. No, wait, listen to what this man just said. He said that feminism, they're contradicting themselves and they're creating their own demise because they think that they've got this nonsensical empathy and these, they're looking at the world through these rosy-eyed colored glasses, and that's going to be their demise. That's going to be their destruction, because Islam is going to take over, and then Islam is going to put a cork in their feminist ass.
You say a fact. There's no fact there.
It is a fact.
Well, it's based on facts. Your conclusion wouldn't be, but it would be an argument.
It would
Well,
be
what's
a
your
very
Jocelyn?
good
What's your point?
What I'm saying is whatever he just said is all just. There's nothing there. There's no weight to it.
there is some substance there, though.
All right, well, let's let me give you a case in point. And this perhaps you're not aware. If you're not aware of this, then you need to get up to date. Okay? Have you heard about what happened in, I think it was London? This disclosure of cases about a bunch of Muslim men treating European girls and underage women a certain way.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay, so does that sound like a culture that's compatible to feminist ideas?
I do not.
Okay, so would you say the men like your Anglo-Saxon men who are there, are they doing the same thing to the rates that the Muslim men are in their country? So in the state of London, if it is the case of this whole like 250,000 cases that were disclosed, are the white men acting the same way to their white women?
They want to.
There's no-go zones in London and in Sweden as well.
You want to. You literally, we just, this whole room, we
I
just
want to.
agreed. So what has been done to those women? We all just said that. And then now, because the tag of Muslim is on it, we're retreating from it.
I'm not sure the argument you're making right now, Jocelyn.
It's because the tag of Muslim is in it that we're talking about it.
Right. That's exactly right. I just want to remove that. And once we remove that, then we can continue.
We're not going
I
to
don't wanna
remove it.
remove
We're
that.
not
I
going
wanna
to remove
talk
it because we're
about that
explaining how
specifically because it's
feminism
within
is
our
causing
culture.
this. Feminism is causing this.
Exactly. But then in the same time, we're still discussing how women shouldn't vote, and we're discussing how
Yeah.
women shouldn't do
Mm-mm.
We're saying, okay, so help me understand how we're so far different.
It's all related.
Because women shouldn't be voting because at this, I mean, if you just make a case for the outcomes of migrants coming in, overthrowing the rule of law and our constitutional observations. If women are the ones who are making this happen, they shouldn't be voting. If I was just to make an argument on that, because at this point, they're making it so they're encouraging the invasion. As a matter of fact, we are subsidizing it through our
Yeah.
tax dollars.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is that or is that not the case, Jocelyn? Do you think it's true or untrue?
I think you've made a lot of assumptions to get to that conclusion, and so I can't concur.
All
with
right.
you.
Well, let's see if we can agree on the assumptions I made. So let's start
Can
first.
I say something?
Break it down.
This may be kind of.
Well, is it
So
gonna derail from what's going on, or what's going on?
No. I kind of want to. So let's say we take away, the rights of, let's say we take away women's rights to vote.
Mm-hmm.
If these people are infiltrating our countries, what's stopping them from sending their women over here to come and manipulate our men, right? If that's what's going on.
It's not. The men are not being manipulated by it's women, because here's what's going on. Women have a higher turnout and they tend to vote left. This has historically been the case since they first got suffrage. They tend to vote in. They tend to vote in either more welfare systems,
Yeah.
more immigration,
That's right.
Yes.
or more ability to
More destructive policies.
more ways to avoid accountability, like getting ABs or getting child support because you aspect a bad man. All these governmental institutions that benefit their behavior.
Yes.
Okay, so what's in contention is how the women are behaving. What's not in contention is where it comes from. Because the reason why is because men are not using the government in this way. Women are.
You built the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? So I built the system. We built the system. So what is your point?
So you built the system, right? A male has built that system,
Mhm.
so that way a woman can lay on her back, make a baby consensual, and then take that man to court and take his money for the rest of his life. This is a system that you built.
Yeah, so by your argument, if men built the system, men are going to take away the system. And here's evidence of how that's being happening right now.
Thank you for that.
Here's evidence how that's happening. Roe v. Wade being overturned. That's evidence. Men taking back the system. Men giving women men taking rights away from women in 13 states. That's how men are taking it back.
Take all their rights away.
So
I feel
either
it's a
women,
slippery slope.
yeah, so a slippery slope. Please explain.
I feel like I don't know to be able to take away a right that was voted into the Constitution. I feel like that's not something that we should celebrate.
I do.
I feel like it's still taking away rights from the American people. And this is a place based on freedom.
Yeah, but rights are a social construction, though, right? I don't even believe in rights. They're social construction. They're social construction. And the way that we observe rights is right now, we can democratically. You understand that our system, Pegomatics, is built such that the democratic system can be literally thrown away next day if we meet a series of checkpoints that allow us to do it. If all three branches agree, we can throw the system away tomorrow. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
All right.
rule
So
of
then
all. Wait,
it's
hold on.
I'm explaining to you. It's
That would require millions of people to agree on it.
no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't.
It would only. I mean, millions. Yeah, perhaps. But this would be
Yeah,
in the Hold on a second, Dylan. I'm not insinuating anything. Okay, on what should be done. I'm just explaining the reality of how it's happened in other countries, specifically where these revolutions get hot, as far as weaponry is involved. Al-Nusra, Mujahideen, ISIS, ISIL. All it takes is a subset of men with military backing to overthrow whatever they want.
This is the
So
reason
it's
I
either going to
really
happen.
kinda-
It's either going to happen peacefully, or it's going to happen because men are going to take it back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also it's like, you know, the biggest rule of all is there are no rules. It's like
There's too
it's like
many of us that can read.
it's like that what was the movie
Whoa.
the Fast and Furious movie where he said the only rule is there are no rules.
Well, the rule is whatever man wants to decide the rules. It's just up for his collection of men to make that so. So this
yeah.
all of our systems are based on that. So if
Yeah.
feminine,
I think it was 3 women to 1 man in the population. What is it now? I think it's more balanced. You're in front of the computer. You might know.
I'll look it
I
up.
think it's more balanced.
Well,
I
I'd
think that's-
rather there be more women because I love them.
It used to be that way. It may not be that way. So he might be right. He might be able to pull that shit.
No, men do not outnumber men, and nationwide, women outnumber men. There are about 97 to 98 men for every 100 women. So it's about 2%,
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but-
great.
right. So it's still there.
or maybe not 2%. I'm not sure if that's the ratio. I think it's like,
Then I feel like if with numbers like that, I mean, why are I don't feel like the people who are struggling in the dating pool should really get the opinion.
shouldn't get the
I feel
opinion.
like that's, and then I know I'm kind of circling back to our main point, but if women are the majority, wouldn't taking away their rights be sort of like a cop out?
No, it would just be a natural. It would be a natural order returning to. It would be.
Save our nation.
It'd be returning to a natural order because if we don't, you realize the birth rates are like less than 1.7 right now, right? That's basically unsustainable for most societies that go through that, and we're
But
going through a
that's
prolonged amount.
because
Uh huh.
It's dangerous.
it's because
Yeah.
I think it's because of economic factors.
Mm,
Nobody wants
women,
to have kids in
yeah,
this
there's
economy.
definitely an economic perspective, but once again, that's caused by feminism. I can prove it if you want.
No,
It's all caused by feminism.
If I
Fucking
believe
get rid of this
that,
feminism, man. Fuck that
but
shit.
that's not that feels like a bandage solution.
All
I
right.
feel
No,
like
it's not. You're not
the
seeing it.
American
You're connect the
dream.
dots, buddy. Connect the dots.
Well, just let him respond, Dylan.
The American dream is down. The American dream has been long dead for at least 2 or 3 decades now.
No,
There
that's-
is no longer getting married, getting a nice house, working a job until you retire, and having 3 kids and a dog and a cat and a goldfish. None of that is happening anymore. Houses cost more than ever. It's
That's right.
people are living paycheck to paycheck. There's not enough money for people to save anymore.
The women entered
And
the
I feel
state.
like that leads into, if there's not enough disposable income for people to go have hobbies and be active in their communities, then that destroys the nuclear family.
All
I
right.
feel
So,
like the biggest
mhm, mhm.
reasons that I've been able to go out, I've had wonderful relationships with women. It's because I have
disposable
I'm not
income.
stressed about finances. I have disposable income to go and participate in all my hobbies. I go out and I meet people, right? I'm kind of a nerd. I go to anime conventions.
All right. So, what's your point?
I don't want to go. I was
It's
able to
all
go do
economics.
these
That's the
things.
reason why men and women are not getting together.
Exactly.
That's only a symptom of it.
Have you ever when I don't have money, I feel like I turn asexual. I don't want to have sex with anybody.
Yeah,
I
but-
don't feel like I've earned it.
So
And I
what? That
feel
would
like
just be
it's the same
you.
way with-
There's right now in the black community, there's a lot of us who are having sex and ain't got a pot to piss in, got a whole bunch of baby mamas. So just because you don't have money, that don't mean that's gonna get rid of your sexual desire, right?
I mean, there's always going to be, it's always going to be something that happens. There's always going to be people more disenfranchised are going to end up having more kids, right?
Yeah. So the people who are
You see
generally
it
less
everywhere.
skilled, well, I don't even need to make the
Nothing
argument.
to
I
do
can
with
I can
procreating.
just go back to the economic
There are
thing.
trailer parks filled with kids running around.
Okay, but doesn't it stand to reason that they're going to be sympathetic to or reliant on the welfare system?
Facts.
I mean, yeah. I feel
Okay,
like
but do you think they're going to likely
if you
teach
want-
their
you should-
kids, and that don't you think they're going to have a culture that revolves around that?
they should probably I feel like they should put a time limit on welfare.
Well,
systems,
whether they should or not, as I'm asking you whether or not these type of people are going to have like a welfare culture and a welfare sympathy towards it, right? more likely than ones who aren't.
Mhm.
Okay, so then if the people who are having kids are going to get more kids that are going to be on the systems, it stands to, and if you're making the case that the people who are seeing the economic cost and saying I don't want to do it, if those people who are less reliant on the system are having less kids, then it stands to reason that it's going to bloat onto such that the ones who are depending on the system are going to be less than those who contribute to it. You understand that that's not sustainable, right?
I mean, yeah, but I
Okay.
feel like we can reform these systems.
Okay,
We
how do we
need to-
reform the
we clearly
systems?
need
We
to-
don't reform the systems by giving people more money out of the government state, by making them more dependent. We reform the systems by repealing back all of all these areas that are not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to be given money if you're bad at choosing mates. You're not supposed to be given money if you're bad at forming marriages. You're not supposed to be given money if you want to get rid of your kid because you're using it as contraception. There's things you should not supposed to be do. You're not supposed to do. But why is it like this? It's like this because women like to choose. They like to use the government like their baby daddy or their daddy or their husband. Stop letting them
It's
do that.
because women vote Democrat. It's a Democrat policy.
No, it's a man's policy. A man made the system.
All right.
Democrat.
So
It's not
hold on a
It's not
second.
a right versus wrong. It's not a left
Yo,
versus
James,
right
what's
thing.
the topic, bro?
Right now, we're talking about whether or not women are using the state like their daddy or like their husband.
We are, and they are. We are. Yes.
Okay, so what's going on right now is feminists are taking advantage of the patriarchal system's benevolent nature. But either they're going to need to recorrect their behavior, or the men are going to flip the tables. That's what you guys. That's what's going to happen. So it's either going to go where women can really tend to agree with it, or they're going to not like what happens next. Because if the men who are military age become, and the working age men start to say, I don't want to participate in society, it's over with. Because here's how. The men, which you guys don't know about America, is men pay more taxes than women in America. And women are 20%, if not more likely to depend on the state. So if the prosperity comes from men to women, and men start to become less productive, it's over with.
Yes.
There won't be a society for women to depend on because there won't be any prosperity to benefit from.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this
Yeah,
means
job
we need to let men have the authority back and take
Job
away.
security.
This means that we need to have men have the authority to take away and repeal all these protections or equity that women have.
Jocelyn's a real woman.
You screwed it up the first time. You're the one that gave us the benefits of sleeping on our backs and making babies, and then sending you down the road and taking your money.
Yeah, but you and I both know, Jocelyn, that our system isn't such that you can levy accountability on all men. In the same way, I wouldn't levy accountability on all women. I would just look at certain factions and demographics that contribute mostly. If our society is set up such that whoever controls the media can really influence like the majority of the Dylan. The women, they participate more in voting. So when you're talking about control, do women have the patriarchal control of the levies of power of the patriarchy? Yes, they do.
I think they're going to.
Well, they have for the past they have since 1919. There wouldn't be like, I think there's like 50 presidents that would never have existed if women never got the right to vote. So
I don't know. You're talking about the women voting in a man. Keep going. I'm still not where you're at, because you're still talking about the availability of a woman to vote in a man into power.
yeah, but here's okay. Well, then how about we get at the principle of it? Let's get at the principle of it, okay? Jocelyn, perhaps I can sway you this way, principally. Do you believe that women are capable of fighting the wars that men fight? I'm talking about hot wars.
You ready? Watch this. Let me reiterate. I'm a 20-year veteran, Army. I retired 3.5 years ago.
Wait, Jocelyn, were
Let-
you in
let
a
her-
combat position in the army?
And what I'm gonna tell you is absolutely fucking not.
All right.
I disagree. I
Okay,
agree with
okay.
you that
Jocelyn's a real woman.
All right. So,
I like
Jocelyn,
this woman.
you agree with me that women can't fight the wars that men fight. So it stands to reason that women couldn't fight hot wars against China, Japan, etc., whatever our competitors are right now.
what
So-
I'm gonna tell you is we do not have that army of women that is going to fight that war on foot. I agree with you.
I'm just talking about wars in general if they ever get hot, right?
When you say get hot, then we got to talk about asymmetric
Like it's
warfare.
past economic sanctions. It's become a war of territory, a war of boom boom.
We're on foot moving. If we're on foot moving artillery shield, then it needs to be. I need a man force.
Okay, so then therefore men are more capable of doing this, right?
Physically, yes.
Okay, so then we have to look at all of history up until this point. How men fight wars, it's because really we're the only ones capable of doing it. The reason why is not just history, but it's strength.
Hold on.
It's strength.
Before you get too far, we have to understand that wars are no longer fought on foot.
Right now, if you're 15 to 60 in Ukraine as a man, you can't. All right, Pegamatics, thanks for coming up. So when it comes to
It's 25
right
to
now,
60.
there are hot wars. Is it not 15 to 60
25 to 60.
that are draftable? No, it's younger
Yes.
than.
No, it's not.
Mobilization.
I had to apply for the armed forces.
No, I'm talking about in Ukraine right now.
Oh,
I'm talking about Ukraine as well.
All right, correct me. Let me just look it up then.
Let me just gain a understanding of the knowledge of position of you. Are you in favor of the Ukraine war?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think anybody should be in favor of any wars whatsoever.
No, sometimes wars are necessary.
What do you mean when you say like wars are necessary for progression? Is that what you mean?
Well, at least for defense. Like if there was a country was trying to invade us, let's just say Canada, Mexico, or China for that matter, I would be willing to go to fight for that, to defend our sovereignty. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, but like wars like the war in Iran right now. Do you agree with that?
The war where?
The war in Iran?
No, I definitely do not.
Okay, yeah.
It's,
As the veteran on deck, I concur.
well, I'm just gonna research something. You guys can. The floor is open.
Are you trying to like find like what age is drafted for the Ukraine wars?
Yeah, but a
Is
bit more particular than that.
Yeah.
What's the point? Even if you, I mean, so what?
The reason why I'm bringing up Ukrainian men being drafted is because they're fighting a hot war of territory right this moment. There are boots on the ground and the capability. And if you agree that men are more capable of doing this than women, the wars are not like they're hot wars where men are doing territorial battles against other men. So you're saying that's not how wars are now? They are. They're right there at this moment.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to ask that you research the term asymmetric warfare, and I'm going to challenge the idea that you have been attacked without even knowing it.
That can still be the case. Two things could be true at the same time. Asymmetric warfare can be a thing.
I yield.
Okay, so then the reason why I bring that up is because when we're talking about men's capability, it's revolved around his strength. Because strength really acts as a base to other multipliers. Multiplier like weapons, his ability to rack the weapon, his ability to carry the munition, his strength leads to him being more conditioned and more weathering of the storm compared to women. His ability to carry his fallen allies as a medic or whatever, more strength, the better ability to do that, right?
Quick story, and I'm reassuring you, is there was a time I was an instructor. I had a student that fell out, and I was not strong enough to carry him out, and it could have been life threatening. Thank God I had a guy with me.
Hmm.
So yes, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why women shouldn't be in the military.
All right. So KJ was right. It's 25 is draftable age starting, but also it says 23 to 60. They're the ones who lack legal authorization to leave Ukraine.
They keep on changing it. It used to be 18 to 60,
Oh, so they've
and
changed
then
it.
it was 20 to 60, and then it was 25 to 60, and then it was if you had a child with a woman who was not in the country, meaning that she abandoned your child, you could have papers in order to leave the country. That is no longer in effect. Then they had another, they keep on changing it. Zelensky is not, forgive me for saying this, I don't want to ire anybody, but Zelensky, he is not for the people. There was also, to avoid mobilization, if you had 3 children, if you were married, divorced, estranged, whatever, uh, if you had 3 children as a man, you were able to leave the country. Right now, as we speak, there is a moratorium on men of fighting age leaving the country, and they can abduct you at any time. Going to the store, going to your home, just walking your dog on the street. It's a very sad thing.
Yeah, there's even videos on it where you can watch men get yanked
And
out
now
just
North
randomly.
Korea. I don't want to monopolize this conversation, but 2 days ago, Fox News reported on North Korea. Russia has now inscripted North Korea to come in and fight on the front line of
Oof.
Ukraine.
That's a freaking meat grinder, man. Alex. Alex.
What's up?
What's up, Alex? What brings you up?
I just saw the anti-feminist dating advice, and I was just curious about what that meant.
Well, we were currently talking about whether women should be voting. Are you welcome to that conversation?
Of course, women should be voting.
All right, great. So let's go back. Let's go back to
Why wouldn't
so-
they be voting?
because they're not capable of fighting the wars, they're not capable of defending or enforcing their own rights.
What does that matter?
Is it true or not? You have to contend
They
with
are
that
capable of
first.
voting. They are currently fighting our wars.
Wait,
I am
who's
fighting your war.
who's fighting
You're
the
sitting
wars?
here not fighting wars while women are.
Wow,
fighting
wow,
wars.
you're misrepresenting the
You're
position.
sitting here not
I never
doing
said
shit.
that. Okay, so I can literally right now I could literally twiddle my thumbs and put my feet up. That it doesn't. My argument is still not contended with. Are women collectively capable of enforcing their own rights? Yes or no?
Yes.
Prove it.
No.
What is your evidence?
You prove that they can't.
Okay.
If we had to go to
Because
war,
because women are not capable of fighting wars against men, and how
There are
wars. So
women
if you
fighting
can,
wars
did you want me to
against
make a case? Yes or no,
men.
Alex? Would you like me to make a case? I thought you requested for me to do something.
No, I'll listen, but I'm
All
going
right,
to
great. So if
disagree.
you're not going to let me build a point, then there's no point of having a point. There's no point of having a discussion.
Want you to make a case. He's just emotional.
All right,
I'm
Alex.
not
So
emotional.
let's.
You guys
Okay.
are emotional.
Oh wow,
You're
you
very
are.
emotional.
Dylan, hold on a second. I can
Go
handle
ahead,
this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go
Women
ahead,
are not
Rose.
capable of collectively enforcing their own rights because whenever men tell women to do a thing in this context, whether it be war or enslavement, women have no remedy outside of appealing to other men. True or false?
True.
Say it again. Sorry.
Wow.
it's false.
No, literally, my dog was just doing some shit. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
When it comes to women having the capability of enforcing their own rights, they're unable because I would draw to all of history to show that whenever a man tells a woman to do something in this context, like be a slave, like have less rights, whenever a man threatens by force or does that thing, women have no recourse or remedy
False.
outside of appealing to other men.
How is
Prove that to be false, please. All right,
That's true.
ready to
Prove it to
hear.
be true.
Men
Okay,
are
I've just
stronger
given
than
you the case. So you would have
No,
to
you
a
haven't.
defeater,
There's
a
nothing true
defeater.
about that.
So okay, well, then disprove what I've said. You can point to any.
No. The
You don't know how
burden
to.
of
You don't know
proof
how
is on
arguments.
you.
You don't know how arguments work. I
Wait,
just gave you an
disprove
argument.
it.
So the way
The
that you
burden
would.
of proof is on you.
No,
Yeah.
it's
So
not.
I've given you the
Yes, it
argument
is.
for it.
Yes,
I've
it
given you an
is.
argument for it. What is your argument to take against what I've said? It's falsifiable.
No, the burden of proof is on the accuser.
Yeah.
No,
So
he
that's
gave
not.
you an
Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
You're obviously not listening.
Alex,
I'm
you gotta get
listening.
with the game, bro. You gotta get with the
Prove
game.
it, dude.
Prove it. I don't have to prove anything.
No,
I just need
he's
to give
telling you
evidence.
something. He needs
I need to give
then-
Okay,
evidence.
so
he needs to
Alex,
then
I've
follow
given
the
you
proof.
evidence. So here's the thing. I don't need to prove anything because whether I can prove something
Nor
to
do
you.
I.
All right, Alex. So
well,
You
have
need to prove the
disprove
thing that you're trying to prove.
Alex, what is your evidence
already
against what
proved
I've said?
this point. You have to
Dylan,
No,
Dylan,
no. You need
Dylan.
to provide evidence
Dylan.
against.
Yeah,
Dylan.
You
go
need
ahead,
to
Alex.
provide evidence for the thing that you've said.
I've given it to you. Did you hear it?
No, you didn't provide any evidence. You
Okay.
just made a statement.
I've given you evidence of all of history, like Iran.
No, you have not.
So
That's
is Iran
crazy.
not evidence?
You made a statement.
Is Iran not evidence? Yes or no?
Iran?
Yeah,
Like
women
evidence
don't want to
against
wear
what?
hijabs. Women don't want to wear hijabs. And currently it's still a law in the books that they must wear
It's still going
hijabs.
down.
What? That's what? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Is it true that there's not a law that there's a law in the books that women have to wear hijabs in Iran? Is it true?
Yeah.
Under
Those
Sharia law?
those
Whatever law, is it true or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with us?
Women don't want to
What are you
wear
talking about?
hijab, but they're forced to wear hijab because the men said women must
They
wear hijab.
Also, wait, have you ever met an Islamic woman
In
before?
Iran?
Have you ever met an Islamic woman before in this country?
Yes,
any
I have.
country
Yes,
at
yes,
all?
I have. How's it
No,
relevant?
I don't think so.
Yes, okay, so
Because
now you're
they
saying I'm
choose
lying.
to wear a hijab.
That's what they
do
say,
choose-
but that's
That's-
not true. It's bullshit.
They choose to wear a hijab.
Right. Here's how you're incorrect.
I've also met Muslim
And
women
an
with
entire
hijab, too.
revolution, an entire soft revolution just came about because women didn't want to wear hijab.
You're just
But
gonna
at
keep
this,
talking over me instead of talking to me about what I've just said to you.
yes, you said, what you just said is there are
No,
women,
I said you
so-
keep saying
Alex,
something,
Alex.
and then
You're
I'm
not strong
arguing
enough
with
to
you, and
respond.
you don't respond to me.
Dylan, I'm not interested in having more than one person.
Unbelievable.
So when it comes to my ability to control the back and forth, I'll do that. Anybody who steps in the way of what I'm doing with
no.
Alex, you're out. So, back to what I said. I'm going to repeat to you what you just said. You said there's a lot of women who choose to, and that's why they're doing it. But I'm pointing to you. In Iran, women were just being unalived on the streets because they're protesting wearing the hijab. Is that true or not?
Sure, that's true, but it
Okay,
shouldn't
so
be.
that this stands to reason that those women didn't want to do it. But still, there's a law on the books and it's enforced that women must wear it. I'm explaining to you when men
You don't
say-
have to explain to me anything.
I'm
I know
okay,
what's
so
going
Alex, you
on.
got to let me finish the point.
No.
You're all right. Well, last time and you're out. So when it comes to what men say a woman is going to do, I'm showing you the mechanism that they're doing it. I've given you the evidence of the occurrence that is happening. So now,
You're
what is
acting
your
like I don't
all right?
know
So
what's going on though, dude?
last time, this is your last
Come on.
chance, and you're out. So my question for you.
Just get me out then.
All right, peace. So
Honestly.
yeah, you can't look at the
Yeah,
feminists.
She's a hostile.
Look at the tomboy.
That yeah, she's a
Look at
hostile
the masculine man.
that doesn't.
She
want
wants to
anything
measure.
from
She wants to measure her dick, but she can't. But she can't actually behave like a man because here's how. Hold on a second, Dylan. Here's how men operate. If you're a real man, because right now you're just cosplaying as one. If you're a real man, or if you're presenting like a man, it would be in your best interest to be honorable like a man, and to have boundaries like a man, and to respect boundaries like a man. But clearly, you don't even know how to be a caricature of one. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. With
Yeah,
Lady
no,
Jocelyn,
what you said-
Dylan, Jocelyn. So right now, we were currently on whether or not women are capable of fighting the wars. Was that
Yeah,
was
look, my only argument against that
Mhm.
is I don't think that you may not know the full capabilities of our army. And what I'm going to tell you is your wars, you have been attacked. and never have seen a foot soldier in your front yard.
I agree with
those
that.
things are happening. Yeah, those things are happening, and they're not happening with a foot soldier. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna promise you, if you go back in history, you can see those women painting those lines up their back lines of their legs for a reason.
Painting the
Those
back
things
lines of their
are for a
leg.
reason.
Painting the back lines of their legs. What does that mean?
Yeah, when they had the pantyhose jazz in the World War and such. But I guess what I'm saying is, don't belittle the input that the woman has brought to that battlefield.
I'm not, but women can still have a benefit, like being a spy, a honeypot, perhaps. Women are definitely used in this way, but you would have to. That doesn't overthrow the abilities of men, because by your argument, you would have to show me evidence of women using asymmetric warfare to overthrow men's wishes. You have to choose. You have to show that to me.
It'd be easy. It'd be easy. Look, we're not.
Well-
It's not.
well,
I don't
But
think
that's
we're
your
at-
burden right there.
So the whole thing here is, men are the far more superior part of the species.
As far as fighting wars, and as far as the capacity to the capacity for physical violence, that's correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Physical violence. That's correct. I concur.
Okay, well then that's how all systems are based off of. They're based off of physical violence. Here, okay, so
That's where you're wrong.
all right. Well, here's how I make the case. Here's how I make the case. There cannot be no asymmetrical warfare if there ain't no government, if there ain't no constitution, if there is not no rule of law. Military and how it organizes in a complex way is based off of the stability of its foundation. The foundation is based off of laws, courts, adjudication, etc.
All of those are the patriarchy. That's the patriarchy. that was
Right,
built.
right. So the patriarchy is what sustains the warfare and the ability for a military to act in a certain way, right?
So far. But I'm
Right.
telling
So
you
far, as in all of history, as in most patriarchal systems like Rome, Egypt, Nubia, Zulu, China, Zoroastrian,
And, well,
Islamic,
the thing is-
white,
the thing is-
Roman, Greco, etc. So I'm explaining to you all patriarchal systems operate this way. They are all systems are sustained by a patriarchal level of concentrated monopoly of violence to enforce rules, laws, or rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. So then, do you think women could do the same thing in this way?
No.
How? Well, now the burden of proof is on you, Jocelyn, because I've given you evidence of all the systems.
Wait, I
Aztec.
think it's
No,
Jocelyn.
Dylan, hold on. Dylan, hold on. I've given you
I
evidence.
don't even know. Hold on. Look, honestly, that's another reason why I came up, because I don't know if I'm a feminist. I don't know.
Well, we're trying to exercise it out of you right now, okay?
Yeah, let's
So-
find out.
No.
So, I've given you the case for patriarchal systems: Aztec, Inca, Central American, whatever. I've given you patriarchal systems that operate such that the men who hold the collection of military and police bodies enforce the laws or regulations or rights. Can women do this?
Yes.
What is your evidence of that?
You snicker because you own history.
Okay, but you realize that you're undermining your own argument. If I own history, I enforce what gets written. The men enforce what gets written. That sounds like a lot of power to be able to change history.
That's the question.
She's a Democrat.
I'm not a Democrat. I am not a Democrat. But what I'm gonna say
Be nice, guys. Jocelyn, yes, ma'am.
is
Jocelyn.
I think that we are looking at a future that may not hold forth your penis.
Are you positing the absence of evidence as evidence?
Possibly.
Okay, well that's but you realize you're admitting that there's no evidence, right?
I thought Jocelyn was chill, yo.
She is chill, but she's chill, but we got to get this feminist out of her. You're pointing right now is you're saying I have no evidence. You're saying I have no evidence, and that's the evidence that I'm going to give to you to give evidence. Therefore, that
Hold on, host.
That's
Can I,
correct.
can I make a point real?
The child has been born and has
Can I
not
make a
yet.
point
been
real
raised.
quick?
That's correct.
She's died in the womb.
So Jocelyn,
wait, the child hasn't been born. What is?
Hold on,
Why are you giving me African proverbs? What does that mean?
Wait, wait, hold on, host. So, Jocelyn, you said you think that there will be a future without our penis. You do realize you were created by both a vagina and a penis.
Amen,
Like,
brother.
you can't have a baby without both. Like,
Amen.
one creates the other. Like, we
Amen and
imply
how?
Yes.
we imply each
I'm not
other.
looking
Like,
to eliminate the penis. What I'm looking to do is level the playing field. You don't get
Oh
to
my
level the
God.
playing field. What the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, KJ, thanks for the compliment.
You can't level the playing field. You're muscularly inferior to us.
All right,
And
well,
the thing,
well, Dylan, if I could, because when you say can, right, level the playing field to what Dylan is saying, you have to level the playing field in this exact way that I'm requesting, because this would be a defeater or a falsifying way to counter what I'm saying. If it is the case that men control this monopoly, and do you have anything outside of the absence of evidence that you're using as evidence?
So it's easy to say that somebody won't be good at the job when they've never held it.
It's easy to say yes, and that would be based off of logical inference. Here's how it makes sense. If I have a bag that's blank, and there's a bunch of coins in it, and after every coin that I pull out, it's a penny, it's a penny, it's a penny, it's been a penny since all of history. For you to say it could be a dime, the burden of proof is on you.
The problem is you've assumed that we've had a penny in that bag ever since when we have not.
Then what is your evidence? What is your evidence? So then in this context, the dime would be, in this context, the dime would be what I've constantly asked you. The dime would be this. The dime would be this. The dime is, you said, this is what you said, Jocelyn. You said, yeah, I acknowledge that that's how it's been. That has been the pattern, but it could be another way. There could be a dime somewhere in there. You just haven't looked at it, or we're just snuffing it out in history. So I'm asking you for evidence of that. What is your evidence?
yeah, what's your evidence?
Let's just say Magellan when he showed the fuck up at the States. Like, my goodness, like anything that sparks new could be the new.
Jocelyn.
What is
Are
that?
you a black woman?
Jocelyn,
Yes.
you do sound black to me, but I'm black. I'm black. So you're in good company.
Yeah, but you're.
Oh wait, but I think
normal,
Dylan meant that as an
She's an
insult.
angry
Don't
black
wait,
woman.
Dylan or Jocelyn, don't ask for that. Don't ask for that. Don't ask, don't ask for that.
Yeah, but
Jocelyn.
you're the
Oh,
chillest
look.
black
But
guy
here's
around,
the
bro.
thing. Here's the thing. Dylan, be quiet for a second. Back to the line of questioning. What is your evidence, Jocelyn?
Look, the bottom line is you're not going to tell me that I've been a prisoner for the last 200 years and that the prisoner that you've kept under a rock forever.
You belong to us, bitch.
Dylan, last chance, Dylan. Last chance. Sorry, Jocelyn.
I believe in this whole room, in your whole platform that you've had today, I believe I can read a tape measure better than everybody.
Dylan, or Jocelyn, you're speaking in code. Like, I don't understand. Is this a dog whistle? Is this a dog whistle?
No, I don't mean no harm.
What are you talking about? You're giving me riddles now. What's going on? Everybody in the chat, can we get the likes up, man? I think Jocelyn is being colorful right now. I appreciate it.
You can't take somebody and hold them under your thumb for the last forever, and
You'll
then
always be under our thumb.
All right,
Just know we're under
Dylan.
God. Wait, hold on.
Dylan. Too many interjections, man. I warned you.
I think it's just legit absurd to have a suppression and then continue the suppression far past your suppression can hold.
Yeah, but if what I'm saying is true, which you haven't contended with, women benefit, and as a matter of fact, they use and contribute and exploit the oppression that you're talking about. If there is a patriarchal system,
the biggest punishment, the biggest punishment of the patriarchal system is to you as the man. I'm sorry.
No,
but
it's not. I still benefit from this patriarchal system. I
You're
still
not the
benefit.
rich.
You don't need to be rich to benefit from a patriarchal system. Our patriarchal system is such that
Exactly. The patriarchal system is what allows the woman to lay on her back, make a baby with no consequence.
that's one patriarchal system. That's not all. That's not a function of all patriarchal systems. At this point, it's a bug of this patriarchal system. Welfare comes from the agreement.
Democrats.
Welfare comes from the agreement.
From a man.
Yeah, but
Welfare comes from Democrats.
there is a level of welfare. There's a level of welfare.
You're pulling out more pennies. Explain more pennies for me, please.
Yeah. So here's how it operates in this way. In the pennies analogy, inferences. If men tend to be more conservative, and if men are the dimes, and if our system is pennies, and since that it's become more governmentally bloated, then if the more power conservative men get, the less governmental bloat. Therefore, more conservative values, more dimes.
Yes, and it's only punishing you as a man.
It's not punishing me. If more conservative men are in power, that means less rights for women. That's a good thing.
Unfortunately, I think you might be wrong. I
Okay,
think
well,
that-
we got Trump in office, and he got us 2 conservative-leaning judges, such that they banned ABs in 13 states.
I appreciate it.
That's more conservatives in power, Jocelyn.
And I guess you assume that I think that that's an attack on women's rights. I don't think it is.
Well, you're not a feminist in that way because you don't believe in bodily autonomy to such that you should be able to AB your kids, but you do believe in egalitarianism or equality such that you should vote. You're just more first wave and less second or third. But so what? I'm just explaining to you how us returning to a natural order of things is good for society. But the thing is, you don't particularly like women taking the vote, being taken the vote away. But here's the problem. Not only is it what I've said, you don't even have a case to if men decided that by the barrel of the government or by how we would enforce it in ways like Iran or whatever way men want to crack down, women have no recourse. They can only either appeal to other patriarchies to get help, or they have to do what the men say in that country. They don't have any other choice.
The problem I have, you have to understand, I was born in the 80s, early 80s, and in my day, I did not see women being trashed or shit on the way you want them to be. So my whole life, I understood that I was allowed to be human. I was allowed to be a voter. I was allowed to go get a job. I was allowed my whole life. And so today, hearing you look the same age as me, if not a little bit younger.
I'm 33.
Yeah, so you're a little bit younger than me, but I just can't believe that you could stand here today and look me as a whole woman in the face and say that I shouldn't be allowed to vote. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you haven't made the case as to. I've made the case and I've given you evidence as to why women shouldn't, and all you've given at this point is one, either the absence of evidence is evidence, or two, you're offended. That's all you have.
I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
You find okay, well you're incredulous. I can't believe you would be doing this in the big 2026. That's just an argument from incredulity. Wow.
No, 2026 has been surprising, so I'm not impressed.
An argument from incredulity. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you are trying to do this right now. That's just an argument from incredulity. Zombified hero says natural order. What host doesn't think? Whoa, host doesn't think women should vote. Must be a Christian nationalist. Yeah. And you guys benefit from Christian nationalists, particularly you damn leftists. But you guys only use it as a weapon to get what you want, which is degeneracy that inverts the entire country and collapses it.
That's correct.
If you guys want to, you guys are just mad that men are being incongruent. What's going on with Zombified Hero is he's just mad that men are now starting to say, I'm going to be in alignment with my household, my morals, my principles, my village, my community and my government, and I'm gonna make them operate in unison. That's what scares the leftists.
You're too late. You're too late for that. We've already got jobs. What are you gonna do
No,
about it? I can
by
afford my
at
rent.
2023, you would have said you're too late. We already have ABs nationwide, and I would have said, okay, just watch. And what happened? What happened in 2023? Roe v. Wade got overturned.
You think tomorrow you can afford your house without me?
So when it comes to reforming our economic situation, a lot of it is going to do with repealing
I like it.
repealing a lot of the protections that you women enjoy so much.
That's right, and then it's gonna make you work twice as hard. You better
No,
learn to
it
read a
won't.
measuring
No, it
tape.
won't. It will be.
You better learn to read a measuring tape.
Are
I'm
you
telling you.
more left? Are you tend to be more capitalist or socialist?
Ooh, you know
She's
what?
communist.
I am not a communist. No way.
Do you tend to like a lot of governmental regulation or less?
Less.
Okay, if you like a lot of if you like less governmental regulation, is it because you think that it adds less governmental regulation leads to more economic prosperity?
I think it allows me to raise my children without their influence.
Okay, but I'm not talking about governmental involvement as far as raising your kids. I'm talking about economic policy that leads to either prosperity or not. Does less government involvement lead to more economic prosperity, or does more government involvement?
It's tough because then you got to look left and right and determine whether or not your society is smart enough to make wealth. And today, I would say our economic system would need the government.
But the government is what got us here in the first place. Central planning, artificial lowering of interest rates by inflation of money. That is governmental policy that's led to this. The free market did not do this.
But still, when I look left and right, I don't think my peers could make an economic decision that would launch our
What do you mean?
government.
I mean, even the criminals know how to sell stuff.
I don't know. Our society couldn't do it. I don't think so.
Our society couldn't sell like a immigrant couldn't sell his cultural food from outside of his stand. He can't do that.
I don't think your wife could sell her cherry tomatoes that she sold out of her backyard.
I mean, my wife does that already. She doesn't sell tomatoes, but she sells
Whatever.
things that she thrifts. I mean, most people have a inkling. A lot of people have an inkling for small or big business. What do you mean?
Not everybody's meant to be a millionaire.
I'm not saying are people meant to be millionaires. I'm saying is there a mechanism in people to create value and exchange it for themselves freely? Is that a mechanism that humans have?
I would sure hope so.
Okay, so then do you think more government helps that or hurts that?
I think it would hurt that. But
Okay, all right. So let's stop right there.
Hold on now, but now you have to really.
Okay, you said yes, but what, Jocelyn? But what?
Can left or right our communities do that? In my community, I don't think so. No way. I don't think our community would be able to thrive by reducing ourselves to a bartering system. No.
But we're not talking about bartering. We're just talking about your ability to exchange money freely without having the government involved. Here's the point. Hey, if you want to start a business, let's just say right now the government said we're no longer going to enforce a wage. If you want to hire somebody at 50 cents or $1, go ahead. What's going to happen? There's going to be more companies from the government that are going to sign up for a corporation and make themselves a state or a corporate entity in their county that can afford 50 cents an hour or $3 an hour. These are going to be people who are likely to be less skilled. That would be minorities, would it not?
I don't have a problem.
Okay, so this isn't just simple bartering. This is the foundation of businesses that can grow into bigger ones. If I'm able to hire somebody at $3 an hour, and I don't need to be forced to pay them $17 a livable wage, well, then this means that a lot of black people are going to get together that can afford that, organize, build from there to be able to parlay to the next business or the next stage of their government or the next stage of their company. Is that not true?
I think it's great. I think it's
Okay,
wonderful.
then that stands to reason that we don't need the government, regardless of our minority status or whatever, to build slowly but surely more prosperous, the less government involvement there is. Because right now, how about this? If the government said we're no longer going to require a license to have a barber shop, you can do it from your home. That's going to create so much small businesses because people are going to start building
Show-
barber shops from their home. Huh?
The patriarchy will not allow your wife to cut hair in the backyard without a license.
You're incorrect. Here's what stops black people. Here's what prevents black people from being able to organize and associate in this way. The left. The left.
Amen.
The left is more litigious. The left is more regulatory. The left is always trying to put their nose in your business between who you want to voluntarily associate with.
You guys still think I'm black? Hold on. You guys still think I'm a black woman, don't you?
I mean, I think you're black, but maybe you're not.
I'm not.
Okay,
I'm a
well,
white woman.
either way, the case can be made for black communities or poor whites or Hispanics. It still applies. So is that not true, what I just said?
I think it is very true.
Okay, so if it's very true, then let's build on what we have agreed on at this point. What we'd agreed on is this: less government, more money. So when you're talking about the system already being too late, or it's already collapsing, yeah, the current system we're having where there's a lot of government involvement, it is collapsing. However, if we are able to correct it by becoming more austere and allowing for systems like I explained to you, where it's less safety net, but it's more freedom to economically organize, this would lead to helping us, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's too many people that are a victim to the rat race of going to work every day that they could not supplement their grocery list by a garden. I'm sorry.
All right, well, I mean, at this point, I've made so much evidence to the contrary. Like, if you didn't have if you didn't need if you didn't have to register or get certified to have a farm, and you could just have one in your damn backyard, and you can go supply a local grocery store, that would lead to more economic prosperity. And if you don't see that, then I guess that's as far as I can go in this argument. It's pretty self-evident.
No, I would like to still challenge the idea that the population still sees a red tomato quicker on a Walmart shelf than they will see in their own garden. And with that being said, it allows them the space and time to go pay taxes at a job that will easily pay them 30 cents to buy a tomato on the way home that day.
But
That's
why
what
do
I'm
they
saying.
do that? Why you don't? But here's what you don't understand, Jocelyn. You're talking about a system that the government has created, and the people like Bezos and Walmart are lobbying to make it such that it is this way. If I'm telling you, we limit the company's ability to use the government as a cudgel to eliminate competition, such that they're going to depend on that system. If we get rid of that, there won't be any Bezoses. There won't be any Zuckerbergs. And if there are, there will be more of them. There will be more competition. There will be lower prices. There will be less price of cost, or a less cost of goods, etc. Because you're saying, oh, people they're not going to step away from it because it's so convenient. The only reason why it's convenient is because the government is used by Walmart. Why does Walmart lobby to have livable wages in their community? Because they know the Mexican dude who just got here can't afford that.
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm explaining to you, if we get rid of the company's ability to eliminate competition, which is the government, then there's going to be more competition. There's going to be more migrants that come here and become legitimate. There's going to be more black people, more minorities. There's going to be more lower skilled workers who can actually have a fighting chance.
I agree with you. I think that we are talking about two different rungs on the ladder. I think we are so far up the ladder that there's no coming back. I think that my children could not grow a cucumber if they wanted to. That's what I'm telling you. Our children cannot do.
How? They can't go on the internet and then look at how to grow a cucumber?
All right, the internet.
They can't use the internet to teach them how to grow a cucumber?
Don't have seeds now.
I didn't hear her down there. KJ, what you got?
So many cucumbers that are sold in the stores now don't even have seeds, nor do watermelons, nor
That's exactly
do.
what I'm saying.
All right, well then we don't need, there's a lot of, okay, well then if there's some if there's some seeds that have evolved past the point of being able to have a natural way of being replanted, then just get rid of them. We don't need watermelons per se. We don't need freaking cucumbers. They ain't got seeds. We'll just go back to the plants that do have seeds.
Yeah, all of that. I guess what I'm saying is you and I are saying
Extrapolate
the
that
same
to
thing. We're just
apples and every other fruit. Who holds the keys then to our nutrition and our food?
The companies that have developed corporate capture by using the government to eliminate competition.
corporate capture. It's gone. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
if you get rid of the welfare that gives them the power and the deals that they make to be able to instantiate themselves to eliminate competition, there will be more competition. Is it going to be right away? No, but it's like, guys, like,
All right, if you're right, and then I'll vote for you, but I won't vote for any other else but you.
all you got to do is
With-
vote for somebody who's going to make sure women can't vote. You ain't got to vote for me. You ain't got to vote for me. But what I'm explaining to you, it will be a natural extension. If women have less rights, that means they have less ability to use the government as big daddy. That means the government has more regulative power or less regulative power such that companies can actually form and they stop becoming suffocated. But if it's going to be more things like, oh my gosh, I need healthcare. If I work 40 hours, oh my gosh, I need a governmental law that does that. If there's less of that, that means if there's more of that, what's going to happen is there's just going to be more people who are outsourced. There's going to be more, hello, how are you? More Indians in a call center 1,000 years away or 1,000 miles away. That's the feminist world. So I'm explaining to you, if women can vote less, and if women have less rights, this is what will happen. The economic prosperity will come back. These zombie companies will go away. The economic policies will stop becoming short-term free shit.
You made them to begin with, though. Is my problem.
All right.
This is your system. You just said for the last forever you've been in charge, and you made this system, and it's so successful.
So the left has been in charge for a while. The feminists have been in charge, not just on the Republican, but also on the right. It's just less on the right. But if women are not voting, there would be less people to appeal to give them free shit, because it doesn't appeal to men the same way it does to women. So if you get rid of the demand, the supply will decrease. You understand that, right?
Right, but you are the supplier. Manage it from the managerial position instead of trying to suppress me.
This is
American men
but you don't understand. Suppression is part of management. You understand that?
I do. But
Okay, well then
do
you can't argue about how I'm doing things. You can't argue about how I'm doing things. You're going to be suppressed.
You can also say that slavery still exists then.
Slavery is not existing. So just because a woman no longer gets to end her innocent life in the womb, that doesn't mean she's enslaved. Just because there's protections that women have a positive right and we go away with those, that doesn't mean they can't. I'm not saying a woman can't sleep with whoever she wants. I'm not saying a woman can't marry whoever she wants. A woman can still associate with whoever she wants. She just can't use the government to allow her to avoid accountability anymore. That's it.
But it's your system.
That doesn't make her a slave because she doesn't have a get out of jail free card.
You made the system that she uses to oppress you. It's your
Me,
problem.
as in James, or who are we talking about? Me?
Your problem is with the patriarchy. Your own problem is with the patriarchy, not with us.
Yeah, so at this point, she doesn't understand. So it's been good, Jocelyn. You're welcome back up, but you're going completely in circles at this point. Every time she gets cooked in an argument, she goes, what? It's just constant. That's the feminist in Jocelyn. Completely bad faith. Completely. Oh, I understand. I've been decimated in every argument I brought up. So let's constantly bring up new things that I've already discussed. Like, golly, you have amnesia or what? He wants women to be second-class citizens. LOL, no rights, nuts. Yeah, but here's the problem, Chase. If men decided to do it, women have no recourse. So, is it true or not?
I think to add to your point as far as like personal accountability for what it is that people are doing, like and this may not be like a shoe that fits everybody, but I grew up pretty rurally. I mean, and we had a little bit of land, 20 acres. So we had cows, we had chickens, we had 3 gardens, we had apples and cherries and things like that. And it's like obviously you could do it on a lot less space. You just couldn't have cows, but you could still have chickens. And the thing about it is that when you first start, it's like you're providing what you need, or maybe you're supplementing it with the store. But we had like an entire room that was just canned goods. So it's like we were making tomatoes and pickles and cucumbers and beets and green beans and different things. And at first we were like collecting it. And then, but within 3 years, we were literally just giving food away. Like we were giving food away because we already had so much that was already stored, and you can only eat so much that's fresh, that all of our neighbors, we all shared, like, because it's the only thing that you can do practically.
Yeah, but
But
Jason,
what that
by what you're saying, the lady on the panel was just to say, no, but y'all can't do that. Y'all not gonna be able to do
that's
that. Surely y'all
it's
can't
it's
do
just a
that.
matter of potentiality in your own mind. It's like anything else.
Yeah,
That
but just because
consciousness
she
dictates.
doesn't have faith in humanity doesn't mean I have to be as pessimistic as her, especially when I see stories like what you're saying all around me. It's crazy.
Well, and it the main thing that it does, and what it changed in my mind frame growing up, was that I didn't pay attention to a lot of the things that they're talking about on the news, because predominantly what the fear that's used to steer the general population is threats to supply chains. Oh, the fuel, oh, milk, oh, vegetables, oh, whatever it is, down to even COVID, like toilet paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're using the fear of supply chain interruption as the thing that they use to justify different laws, that they use to justify different wars.
Mm-hmm.
And the less you're dependent upon supply chains, the less that they can force
Or
down your
manipulate
throat.
your
Because
emotions.
yeah. So it's imperative for people to not be so dependent on supply chains, because when you have a direct relationship with the earth is not the same thing. It's not politically navigating your life to make you feel a certain way. It's like, yeah, maybe you didn't have a very good crop this year of tomatoes, but guess what? You have 200 cans of or jars of tomatoes from last year where you had a really good crop. So it's like you'll have buffer years where you produce more, and you'll have years where you produce less, but it all equals out at the end of the day.
Basically being sustainable such that you have a buffer system to weather the storm. If there's any economic downturn, you have a insulation from it because your preparedness or your ability to sustain yourself.
Exactly.
But the government gets
And
in the way of that because they don't allow you to organize without a permit or a freaking certification.
yeah, it is, well, and beyond the point, what I was making is because of the fact that everybody was growing their own food in this little valley that I lived in. It's like we would grow certain things knowing that we would be able to trade them with our neighbors, because we're giving them zucchinis and tomatoes and squash, right? So they don't grow it because they know we grow it and we'll have too much of it anyways. And so there was constantly bartering, and that's really what the government doesn't want to have in place, is the exchange of goods and services without the monetization
Yeah,
of
that's why they want
those
to eliminate
services, which
cash
can
at
be
this point.
taxed.
They're literally trying to eliminate cash for a reason such that you can't do that anymore without an internet
Yeah,
connection.
yeah. And so I think that the idea that it's not possible is just something that people put in their own heads to avoid accountability and responsibility for attempting it, even. Because even if you have less space, you could still do tower gardens using stuff as simple as buckets and PVC, and you can replace a lot of the things that, as far as like produce, that you would buy from the store. And to be perfectly honest, if you do it properly, you'll get a better tomato, you'll get better lettuce, you get better products, because what they produce in the store is literally, it's superficial. I mean, the first time I ever had a store-bought tomato, I was like 18, and I was shocked by the fact that it didn't look, taste, smell like a tomato. The texture was different, and they're actually just garbage. Like the store bought tomatoes are they're green and they use a gas pressurization system to turn them red forcibly through
Hmm.
chemistry.
Hmm.
So it's like a lot of the things that we get from these corporations that have created monopolies is not only are they not providing a good value, they're providing a inferior product, an inferior result than what we would be able to produce as individuals taking responsibility for ourselves.
Not only, basically, you're saying not only is it inflation, but it's actually lower quality product due to the monopolization.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
If
is
they,
just
it's like
corporate
if you have no
capture.
competition, then
Yeah,
what are you
it's
competing against? It's like you're either
Bezos
going to buy my
and
shitty tomato or not
Bill
have one.
Gates
So
freaking mystery nuggets.
yeah,
It, look,
you know,
I lay this at the feet of feminism. I lay this at the feet of Marxism. I lay this at the feet of Keynesian economics. I lay this really at the feet of the left. So I argue with the branches, the cultural branch of the left, which is feminism, but their economic policy is just as evil,
Yeah.
because this inflation stuff, and don't look, Trump, Bush, whoever, this Keynesian bullshit is some of the most evil thing that's ever happened. The ability to inflate people's savings out of thin air
Yeah.
from the security of a bank account after hard work of blood, sweat, and tears is some of the most evil stuff you can do to a human. To rob them of their labor in the future is some of the most evil shit you can do to someone.
I don't know
Who
that
did
it's a
that?
left versus right thing because I would say that if you look at the left, essentially what they're doing is they need people to be poor because they're the party of the disenfranchised, of the people that are marginalized, of getting equities, quote unquote. And so they need people to be poor. And if you start having wealth, then your likelihood of staying within the Democratic Party is relatively low. So there's like that aspect of it, which is bad. But if you look at the Republican Party, to your point, a lot of these businesses are making such big business out of government contracts. So it's like they're lobbying the government to get monopolies, and the left is creating all these subsidies, which prints out money, which deflates the money and currency for everybody. So it's like they're both causing the problem because
Yeah,
if
and I'm
you're
not.
on the
Go ahead.
right, then you
Mhm.
get a bunch of monopolies, right? Because even the people that are Republican that are trying to lobby the government are lobbying the government to pass laws to
That
make
benefit their
small
corporate.
business entry a more problematic affair for people. It's like they favor big business, but at the detriment of small businesses.
Yeah, but it would be Marxist policy that they're in favor, they're aligning with. Because if
Yeah.
you look at the Communist Manifesto, to have a centralized bank was one of their tenets. So yeah, the conservatives, the rhinos, or whoever who's in power, they're acting like a leftist in one area where it really counts and where it really hurts. I would disagree with that, but I wouldn't particularly say it's a conservative position principally. So I would
Well,
argue that it's a leftist thing that they've adopted. Because
I guess
central
what I'm
planned
saying is
economies is
that
not a function of, at least not how I
no,
observe the right to be here
no,
historically.
it's because it's like too big. It's like trying to plan all the grains of sand on the beach when there are waves rolling in. It's like it's impossible. It's too big for, you know, 400 people to decide what 350 million people are going to do, especially when those 400 people aren't even business owners and they've never actually actively participated in society in any other capacity than running it and being in charge of it. And it's like, how old are all these people that are in the government?
Yeah,
There should be some sort of age limit.
yeah, it's not, it's getting pretty bad. And I'm not gonna, I'll definitely agree with you. Like, to the right, it's like a bunch of freaking boomers, rhinos, uh, Zionists. So it's,
I wouldn't have trusted Joe Biden to run the cash register at a Starbucks.
yeah, he's too crazy for ice
It's
cream.
like he was running the country.
So so for anyone in the chat, who do you thinks I should block Chase? because Chase is acting like a little hyena. Let's see. Natural selection at work. Why? Defend yourself. Well, how about you come up and defend yourself? Because it's easy to snipe in the chat.
Let's talk about Islam.
Well, I'm interested in seeing if this guy's gonna have the courage to come up. Chase, why don't you stop being like acting like a hyena and come up? Buddy boy, what's the topic of the live? Anti-feminism. Buddy boy. Triggered. Got in your fifis. So emotional. No, it's called making a person put their money or their words where their mouth is. You wouldn't know anything about that because you don't know about how men operate and how men challenge each other to duels. If someone doesn't want to back up their words in a debate, then they're just a pussy. So Chase, why not come up? You scared? You scared, Chase? Because right now all you're doing is proving my point. All you want to do is yap and snipe from the chat. I'm asking you questions, and all you do is try and ask thousands more without answering. Are you willing to come up, Chase? Yes or no? Jocelyn, even though I got you out of here, you're still being a good sport, even in the chat. Shout out to you, Jocelyn. Look at Chase, man. Look at this guy. You're good folk. What's your definition of feminism, Dara? Dara asks, my definition of feminism is the movement towards equality amongst the sexes, the movement away from a patriarchal system. Thank you for a forum on your platform. Keep doing this thing. You're changing hearts and minds. Appreciate it, KJ. So, Chase, you have 1 minute to request up or you're out of here. Only proving your cowardice.
I think that a lot of times what people have a problem is acknowledging, like if you think about what a patriarchy is, essentially it's the people that have ultimate responsibility taking authority. And it's a problem when you have people that are not capable of being responsible that want equal authority, because authority is just telling other people what to do, and responsibility is ensuring that it's actually accomplished or assuring the result or standing behind the result. Because a lot of the problems that you see with feminism is that when they fail these policies, they're basically, oh, it's because the patriarchy or it's because men are the problem. And it's sort of like, well, if the whole thing that you need is men to agree with you in order for you to be successful, then basically what you're saying is you want men to do what you want rather than what they want, which is the exact problem that they're facing. They want not to do what other people want to do. They want to do what they want to do. But it's like, you know, if I want to fix my car, but I don't know how, but I want to argue with the mechanic, it's like, well, what are you doing? You have to communicate with the mechanic to get what you want, not argue with them about how it's supposed to be done. Because if you can't do it or you don't need to be in the way of someone actually doing it.
Now, were you the one who made the comment that women want all the responsibilities of an adult with all the accountability of a child?
Well, what I'm
Or at least
no,
how
I didn't
feminists
say that in
are.
particular.
Okay, that wasn't you.
What I'm saying is authority is like a king has authority, right? A king can say, do this, do that. But the actual knights on the ground fighting the war are the ones that are responsible for winning.
Well, look what
So-
Jason, look what she's saying in the chat. Complete autonomy without men is fine, thanks. You're incorrect. You're incorrect. And your history shows that you are completely incorrect. If men say you're going to be in, if men say you're going to be in a cage, you can't do anything about it. Women can't do anything about it.
I mean, it's because of the fact that ultimately like Gemini, the people that are enforcing the laws that give equality to people it's men. It's the men that have good in their hearts that want to create a society that is benevolent, that have created all of these additional rights for all of these groups. Because if you can't say like men are the problem, but we just need men to agree with us, because if they did, they could fix everything. Like that doesn't make any sense.
We have
Ultimately,
two
you need the
A rights.
people that enforce the ideas.
No, our rights are endowed by our creator. Who is your creator? Gemini, Moloch, the one you sacrifice all the children to, and your ABs. What god what god do you guys serve? Because the god that I serve is a patriarchal god who commands women to submit to their husband. So we don't serve the same god. Clearly, we have 2A rights. You have 2A rights. Women couldn't even imprison men at gunpoint. If there was a penitentiary full of female guards, all men had to do was just set up a riot, and it's over with. I mean, who's the hell know what happened to those? You already know what's going to happen to those female guards. So, what are you talking about? Complete delusion.
Well, in history, there's a reason why men have stood at the gate to defend the city. It's because if there wasn't people at the gate, whether you're talking about nature, way back in the day, where there's lions that are coming in the night and just literally ripping people out of their beds, or whether you have the ravages of people who don't operate by dictates of societies, or that see your society as something that's inferior or weaker so they can just take what you have. There have always been people that were required to provide security for any group of individuals, large and small. And so you can't just negate that and be like, oh, well, now we don't need security. Why would you say that? If you eliminated all of the military of the United States, why do you think that even then countries wouldn't invade? Because there's so many people that are armed. Who are most of these people that are armed? It's almost all men. It's because they know that if they invade a country where there's a bunch of armed men, even if there's not an actual standing army, that they would have high rates of casualties.
So,
Jocelyn, I grew up hunting. I can shoot firearms of all kinds.
oh wait, you said Jason. I didn't mean to say. I thought the last person who I banned was Jason. Was his name Chase, or what was the coward's name?
Chase.
Oh, my bad. You're not better than Jason. You're better than Chase. My bad. So the government in its might can imprison you tomorrow. Might makes right? No, might makes. Men can overthrow their state of affairs, Gemini. Let's see if you can answer this question. Because at this point, you're just deflecting. If a collection of men decided women need to do said thing, like stay in the kitchen or not vote ever again, you're banned from the voting box, can women do anything about it? Answer that question. It's the only thing I want to hear from you. Needs heat lamps. 10 toes to the stove. Because I notice what a lot of people in the chat like to do. When you give them a point, they just play whack-a-mole with their but what about. They never actually acknowledge when they're wrong. It's just a way to avoid any type of concessions. You must prove empirical evidence, peer-reviewed studies, and citations to support your claims. You can't expect others to disprove you when you haven't proven yourself. This is your burden of proof. False. Tally says, tally ho, you're incorrect. The evidence that I need does not need to be from an institution especially if it's evidence you and I can agree on. As a matter of fact, it's the best because it's easiest to observe, it's simple and plain, and if you agree with what I'm saying, then I can build my evidence on your and my agreement. Proof is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for evidence to make a case from one to another. Proof assumes that I must convince yo bad faith ass of my arguments. Why would I do that? Why would I submit that the proof should be to your snooty liking? How are you going to say if I'm giving you evidence that the feminists that I've argued with can agree on, and you're going to say that's not evidence. I need citations instead.
Well, that's just, they're trying to appease to authority, that it's like, oh, if somebody that doesn't have a degree should automatically defer to the body of knowledge where somebody with a degree said that it's correct.
Yeah, because what if I got a citation for slavery being right? Wow, look at that. Can you time people out on here? All right, well, Gemini's out of here. Congratulations, you played yourself. Can I time people out on here? Ooh, I can mute people. All right, so you're on timeout. Nice. Imagine. So let me explain to you, Gemini, how things work here and how men do things. When a man asks you a question, and he gives you specific instructions, particularly since you're on his live, to respond to, and you disregard it, this is called disregarding authority. In a relationship dynamic, this can be perceived as disrespect. But perhaps you're not aware of that. Maybe you don't have men in your life that can do those boundaries on you. Well, if you can't follow simple instructions in good faith, then not worth having a conversation with. Tom Morrow, thanks for the follow. Jocelyn has been a good sport. Even though what I said was contentious, and when we said, or what our arguments were contentious, at least Jocelyn can follow instructions. This is a woman who has, I would argue, more potential than the lady I just muted. Can't follow simple effing instructions. Crazy work. Anyways.
Say hypothetically, Jocelyn, that the patriarchy was over, what do you think would replace it? It's just going to be a different patriarchy. So it's sort of like, okay. If a tree dies but it leaves the seeds on the ground, it's just a tree of a different variety of the same fruit.
That's a nice poetic way to put it, Jason.
Because, well, it's the only thing that can overthrow a patriarchy is a different patriarchy. But if a patriarchy just gives more concessions, it doesn't not make it a patriarchy. Because if the ultimate deciding factor is the enforcement of ideas, which is the only thing that is in fact holding a society up, is the enforcement of laws. If that's always falls back to men, then how can it be anything other than a patriarchy? Because I don't foresee the Amazon warriors coming out of the mist and, beating down armies of men to enforce the dominant will of themselves. That's not realistic. So it's like you can transform one thing into another thing, but it doesn't make it not that thing anymore.
Well, Jason Johnson says the way forward isn't picking up and putting down a water gallon. Jocelyn, these damn riddles sometimes. It's too proverbial. What do you mean by that, Jocelyn? Well, guys, let's summarize what's happened today. I got a lot of concessions from a homosexual on homophobia. proven or giving a lot of evidence to why I'm not homophobic and I can still discriminate against homosexuals. Even a homosexual had to admit. And what's crazy is in the midst of that conversation, a bisexual woman came up to defend what I was saying. That might sound crazy to you guys, but that was the highlight of the conversation I had today. Another one was getting a feminist to rage quit just for asking simple evidence of her claims. Let's see. Hey, bro, just checking in to confirm my dominance. All right. What was another conversation I had today? A self-described playboy who gets to have a lot of promiscuous relations with women came on to admit that hoflation is real and that feminism is causing hypergamy. We agreed that hypergamy is good, but the way feminism has done it, feminists have married hypergamy with feminism, making hypergamy. So that was another highlighted conversation. I've even had today, I've had feminists turn on each other to support what I'm saying mid-conversation. I think that was very interesting. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to close out. Jason, I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome back up, all right?
Have a great night.
All right, you too. So guys, these are my convictions. I think I might be less free speech with a lot of the gnats and the damn comments. I turned 12 Trumpies normal today. Panda. That's unfortunate. Would you bring them to the dark side? The pro-choice side? That's rather unfortunate. Jocelyn, I appreciate it. So, these are my convictions. I think the best case for this panel, or for this live that I'm doing, is really to expose feminism in all its forms, from ways 1 through 4. The more I can do that, the more hearts I can change. Believe it, you guys would be surprised how many women who are feminists who come back. It's not just because I'm charming, it's because my arguments have a level of appeal and magnetism to it. Not because I made them. Hell, I borrow a lot from Andrew Wilson. Myron Gaines even sometimes. I borrow from a lot of men who are in the manosphere or who are on the right, the political right, that I admire and that I've learned to hone their arguments. Why is this important? It's important because the culture war is really, I think, how we win. And the reason why I started thinking this is because when Trump came into office, what really scared people on the left is how Trump was able to get people on his side and how he was able to build a movement. It's why they hate people like Charlie Kirk. That's why he was killed. People don't like us getting involved in the culture, and once we do, the further we do, it's going to be a really bad story for people on the left, feminists included. It's important because the more people become apathetic to being called a transphobe or a homophobe or a racist, the more people become apathetic to that, the less power they have. The more desperate they get, the more they can become exposed. Bro, here's what you're going to observe on my lives. But damn, he's got a good point. Yeah, appreciate it, Jocelyn. Jocelyn, thank you for the hearts. Here's the thing. What are you going to experience on my live? You're going to experience feminists getting viscerally desperate. Viscerally desperate. You're going to experience feminists becoming completely bad faith and buckling under the weight of their own positions. They cannot stand up to simple questioning. Some are definitely better than others, but most of them you'll show that their positions become ultimately unattainable, especially when you attack them at the principle. Why is this important? The more the left and the feminists become exposed, the more untenable their positions, the less reasonable, the less it makes sense. The more they become desperate and lash out, the worse they look. The more people want to disassociate with them, the more radioactive they become. The further on the Overton window they shift, the further they alienate the other people that were central left. How? I remember watching. Do you guys remember Tim Pool? Tim Pool used to be in Vice magazine. Vice magazine is a liberal ass magazine. Is not Tim Pool a historical liberal from like the 2000s when it comes to covering certain protests or riots or governmental upheavals in South America, etc.? Is not Tim Pool someone on the left historically? So then how is it that now he's voting for Trump? How is it that now he's taking on positions that I believe in, more right positions? Why? It's because, as out of his own mouth, he's watched a party alienate him, and then on top of that, start calling him a white supremacist or far right because he doesn't like gender affirming care or gender neutral bathrooms. The more we question, the more we expose their lines of thinking and their ideologies, the more radioactive they become. And this goes with feminism. The more conversations I have with this, I believe personally, the more I persuade women to submit to men, not just any man, their husband, the one that they trust, the one that they love, the one that they make a commitment to die with under God, the one that they vow to. And I can commit and call to action a lot of men to take that call, that responsibility to ultimately die to yourself, to take on the responsibility of leadership, even though you don't want. You think I want to tell my wife what to do all the damn time? You know how many questions she asked me about what she should be doing? You think I want to do that? I'd rather play Marvel Tokon. I'd rather play freaking Overwatch or Gears of War. Gears of War E-Day just came out. I would rather play video games. But the calling is what? The calling is I need to lead. I need to create an environment that my wife feels safe. I need to protect her. I need to do all these things. That is the calling of the man. It's an equal calling. The more fire I'll put in the bellies of the men to step the hell up. I think I was starting to pull on the heartstrings of the Playboy. What did the Playboy want to do? He wanted to live his best life, go overseas, dig around, play reverse whack-a-mole with his wiener abroad. That's what he wanted to do. And I said, wait a minute. Why not take your charisma, take your ability to charm, take your ability to have good conversations and communicate? Why not instill those skills in your children? Why not have babies? Why not do your country a favor and bring capable, competent communicators to fruition to the next generation? That's a better thing. He paused. Which another conversation I had today. Another conversation I had today is a gentleman who's on my side, whom I won't name, but he's very popular here on TikTok. Do you guys want to hear this story? I forgot about it. Give me some likes. Give me some likes. Do you guys want to hear the story that just happened today about a certain podcaster whom I won't name? I'll give you a hint though. He has way more followers than me. He came on his burner account. You guys want to hear that story? Let's get the likes to 23,000 right now. Right now it's at 22. Let's get the likes to 23,000. Do you guys want to hear the story of someone who just came up today? And it's recorded. It's recorded, by the way. It's on my YouTube channel because I'm recording simultaneously right now. And it's going to be recorded when I clip it. I'm obviously going to keep him anonymous. But I'll give you guys a hint. Do you guys want to hear the story? If you do, give me the 23,000 likes. Here's the story that I'll hint at who it is. This person is somebody who's very strict on modesty. And you know what he says a lot? That's tough. That's tough. When he ends his videos, he says, that's tough. Does that fresh anybody's memories? Hey, I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna say who, but here's, if you can get this to 23,000 likes, I'll tell you what happened. There's a certain someone who preaches modesty a lot. A certain someone who preaches modesty a lot. He came here on one of his burner accounts. And you know how I recognize him? Because I'm good with voices and I can remember people. There was someone who came on here who I noticed it was a feminist, and she hosted lives, and I remember having a conversation with her because I had a conversation when she was hosting, but she came on her burners. If I've had a conversation with you, or if you're famous on the internet, I've identified her. I said, hold on a second. Are you married? She said, yeah. And I asked, are you married to someone who's in the military? She said, yeah. And I'm like, you used to have lives. You're a feminist. You used to host lives and I've had a conversation with you. She said, yeah, I did used to host lives. But she came on her burner account. So I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds left. If you want me to tell this story about the man who just came on today, who has hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok. If you want to hear the conversation, I need these likes up to 23K. You got 30 seconds. So Illuminati. I know So Illuminati. That's the, well, he's not the homie, but I like his style. I like what he does. So Illuminati. No, not So Illuminati. You know that's where he got it from, right? That's where freaking the black dude whose voice is sped up. That's where he gets it from. He gets that from So Illuminati. All right, guys. Well, you didn't get it up to 23K. But here's what I'll say. I'll just leave with a hint. He preaches heavy modesty online. And he says that's tough. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think those hints, if you pick up what I'm putting down, you'll be able to say it. What I will do is I'll post a clip. I'll work on the clip and I'll get it posted sooner or later. So, with that being said, guys, I appreciate you coming up. Hell, and I even appreciate the likes that I got. We weren't able to get it quite to 23,000, but I had to honor my commitments. You know what I mean? Y'all didn't get it to 23K, so hey, you know what I'm saying? That's tough. But you know what? So Illuminati does say it. That's tough. So Illuminati does say it. Hey, you guys got it to 23K, but it was too late, man. Too late. So y'all better be quicker with the thumb action next time. But here's the thing, guys. I'm trying to figure out ways to get you guys engaged. I'm still not really good at drawing the crowd with this TikTok stuff, but I do appreciate everybody who's came on. I appreciate everyone who stayed. Samantha, Riak, freaking MP, Tekka, little Tekka fan. Tekka's cool. Fabulous, AW, Brian, ZZZZZZ, hope you're not asleep. Riak, we're gonna need you to come up one of these days and say your piece, and we'll help you. You need a more dramatic prompt. Perhaps it'll be the patriarchy's good. The patriarchy's good. I don't know. I don't know what would be a good. Thanks for the follow, Tekka. What would be a good prompt? Yeah, that's good. The patriarchy's better than feminism. I think that would be a good prompt. Patriarchy is better than feminism. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I can probably do a prompt like that, and we'll see how I do it. We'll see how it goes. That's a good prompt. So I think maybe I'll test that out tomorrow or Monday, next time I go live. So if you guys want to be notified the next time I go live, just hit me with a follow. I tend to go live Wednesdays and Saturdays, but often I have been popping in to freaking, because look, man, I get a lot of motivation, or I get angry sometimes. I just want to go argue. So I pop up because I'm feeling like I want to have a conversation. Or so last week I went live Thursday, and I went live Tuesday. No, I went live Monday and I went live Thursday. So I went live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today. So if you want to be notified the next time I go live, just hit me with a follow. I'm going to be posting clips when I get the time to edit them. But I appreciate you guys' engagement, because in reality, here's the thing. Without you guys, when I get freaking restricted, you guys help boost me out into the algorithm. When I get flagged, your support is really what's going to motivate me to continue, because let's be real, guys. If the moderators who control monetization look anything like the feminists I argue with, I'm probably not going to be able to make much of a living without your support and without your engagement. So I appreciate for everybody who's come on. I appreciate the likes, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, so on the YouTube side, remember the motto. I'll allow your comments to derail the panel. So, thanks for coming up. Or coming on. I'll see y'all next time.